What is up, you beautiful people? This is Gary Horton. This is Pro Wrestling, the show celebrating the past, present, future, history, legacy, tradition of the greatest sport of all time. Of course, we're talking about professional wrestling. And as always, I am joined by Will Martin. Hey, Will.
Hey.
I was trying to think of something clever to say beforehand, but I had nothing.
No worries.
We're also joined by the man who didn't even know we were going live until he just showed up right now on screen, and I had hit the button. It's Dr. Rob Stinson.
Hey, y'all. How's it going?
Oh,
we're
going for that vibe tonight? Okay.
That feels good.
We're going to be chill tonight.
All right.
We're going to be chill tonight.
Hey.
Hey, man.
They call me Silent Thunder.
Yeah.
Well, if you saw the post, we're going to be talking about a little wrestling news. We don't have like a lot to talk about necessarily. Whatever's really on your minds, that's what Sunday nights are all about. It's just hanging out with our bros for the rest of our lives. We're just trying to, yeah.
Oh, we got him. We got him.
What just happened there?
We got him. I got to him rest of his life.
I love this.
Sam, I got maybe a year, maybe two left of this, bro. Then I'm out.
Look at Ricky Donna in the chat already, just like busting it out. If you could go back 20 years ago, what would you say to a young Bryan Danielson as encouragement and discouragement?
Right out of the gate.
Out of nowhere. But I love
mentally ready.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good.
I would say,
first of all, you said,
man,
go ahead, Will.
I'd say, hey, man, you got this. You know?
Yeah, I'd say.
I'd be like, hey, just as far as discouragement goes, I'd be like, look, man, haters are going to hate. They're just going to hate. They're going to. And as far as encouragement goes, yes. And
then you could have taken credit for that whole deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like flux capacitor, man.
What can I possibly say to Daniel or Bryan Danielson? Like, what could you you know what I mean?
To discourage him, I'd be like, you never reached that pinnacle, man. You never won that NWA title.
Yet.
You came
too
close.
Short.
You came close.
You're too short.
Came up a little shout.
Oh, he's too
Nailed
short.
It. Next
and
question.
Came up a little short. I like that. All right. Well, next question. Let's see here. Ryan Romano also pointing out Thunder Rosa will be live on Pro Wrestling Junkies on Facebook tomorrow night at 7 p.m. for a virtual Q&A. So There you go. Front row would tell him, by the way, watch the bro kick. So there you go. That's for that quick loss. That almost like turned things around for him. I think that was a really good moment actually for Daniel Bryan, because I think after that point, everybody was just like, what are you guys doing? WWE sucks. And then they turned on the company in favor of him, and it got him to
that always works.
Yeah. Anyway, that's not how I intended to start off this evening, but here we are. That just felt good. So anyway, how are you guys doing? How's the chat doing? How are you guys doing? Front row, Ryan, Ricky Donna, Terry. It's good to see all of you. Dave, Scooby, of course, is who I'm talking about.
We in the Martin household are in potty training mode with our toddler, and it has been a challenge. I don't have a lot of patience, so Rob, none of your bullshit tonight, because I don't have the margin mentally for it. But no, it's all good, man. We're getting there. It's just, day 2 of potty training. So if you hear a toddler screaming in the background, it's because we're trying to make him use the toilet, and I'm ready to never change a diaper again. So that's where I've been, but I am stoked to be here talking about pro wrestling, my favorite thing to do. So
yeah,
but that's how I'm doing.
No, that's good, man. It's potty training.
Right.
It's hard, man. Here's the thing. Like, every now and again I'll have boys, every now and again I have girls. You know what I'm saying? I've got boys and girls in Boys are hard, man. They're hard with potty training. Girls do it. They'll tell you. They'll tell you. Me. I didn't potty train until I was about 13 years old. About 13 years old, I finally quit wetting the bed. That's facts. All right. Now,
I believe you.
Piper stopped wetting the bed at about 9 months. About 9 months, 10 months, she was already wanting to get. We had a little potty, little itty bitty toilet sitting by the commode. She already wanted to do it. Petra's just now starting to figure that out. She's hit or miss. But just you know, it is what it is, Will. I mean, you fight the good fight, man. You might be in it for another. How old is your oldest? Your oldest is
12.
about what? 12. You may be in it for at least another year with him. Your youngest, man. You know,
We got that one.
it might be a long ride, bruh.
Yeah. Yeah. So really, tonight is about anyone in the chat. If you have advice for potty training, let's just open up the floor. I'm an open book.
The phone lines are open.
Gary's like, I don't know. I take all my kids outside to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, all my kids
my
are
fur
dogs. So
Maybe I should try that.
I'm the odd man out here. No Litlands. Sounds good.
That's not mine. That's Rob's.
Oh, that's Rob's.
Yeah, that's mine. I'm over here like, what the? I thought she was down already. She might be coming in here. Hold on, let me mute this.
We're live, everybody. This is what we do here. So, you know.
Dad mode, never. You can never turn it off.
Oh, man. Let's see. Ryan Romano knows Petra.
Petra! That's how I read that.
Whiskey Gary may or may not be potty trained, says Front Row.
That's a good point.
Well, one piece of news I did want to bring up here that, and since we're starting this thing out, we're already 8 minutes in, and we haven't really talked about anything wrestling related except promoting people's shows that aren't ours. Come on. Oh. Scooby was in Philly this weekend, he says. He had cheesesteaks and drove by the old ECW arena. So that's nice.
That's good.
Also, let's not forget Mission Pro Wrestling coming up on May the 1st. Thunder Rosa versus David LaGreca apparently happening. And who does the bearded trio have on that match? I don't have. I know that Thunder Rosa is going to whip that ass personally, and I'm going to be there.
I'm just saying,
it's not really a question. Are they wrestling or are they talking on the radio? Because that'll sway my answer.
They're definitely not talking on the radio.
I think at some point,
Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, I think David LaGreca had a great run, man. He had a great run, and then he made one mistake, just one, and that was all it took.
Oh, the piece of news I was going to bring up is this was the first week where AEW and WWE, or sorry, NXT, I guess I should say, they don't really put like a lot of WWE branding on NXT for better or worse. The NXT and AEW Wednesday Night War officially was ended. NXT debuted on Tuesday night, and AEW went unopposed on Wednesday night, and everybody was really surprised. This is according to Wade Keller over at Pro Wrestling Torch. AEW Dynamite drew 1.219 million viewers on Wednesday night, on its first Wednesday night since the NXT moved to Tuesday nights. The total viewership of both shows was 1.456 million. AEW drew 84% of those viewers to their show. NXT also increased its debut Tuesday night time slot to 805,000 viewers, the highest viewership ever for that show. And the highest number since last October. NXT only drew more than 800,000 viewers once in 2020. AEW drew more than 1.2 million viewers only for its very first episode in 2019 in October. And when adding in 7 days of delayed viewership, AEW has only ever drawn 1.2 million or more once this year, 4 times at the start of 2020, and 4 out of its first 7 weeks back in 2019. But AEW, Wednesday night, number 2 among all cable shows in the 18 to 49 demographic. And this is just 1 year ago this week, AEW was drawing 683,000 viewers. So they almost they more than doubled that, really, right? So anyway, or almost. So that's pretty incredible, right? Good for AEW, good for NXT. Just I was wondering if you guys had any thoughts. Is this you feel like this is a permanent thing, or were people just more interested this week for some reason in AEW, or what's the deal there?
I mean, I think next week will be the big tell for that, to see if those viewers stick around. I mean, that's the name of the game. I mean, a lot of people jump over. I mean, it's tough because we're not really in that group, you know what I mean? Like, we don't really hitch our wagon to either of those promotions, but I don't know if like the NXT faithful, just out of curiosity or out of habit, they wanted to watch wrestling on Wednesday night, so they just watched AEW and that contributed, or if it was just legitimately, going to be their numbers from now on. I mean, either way, I mean, we said this a couple months back when they talked about changing up nights and running unopposed. It's good for wrestling. I mean, it's good for, to spread it out. And I know competition's cool, and the Monday Night Wars are this big epic thing that's cool to look back on. But I feel like right now in wrestling, it's just better to let everyone win. I mean, it's good for pro wrestling in general for NXT and AEW to have increased viewership. So I'm cool with it. I like it. It's a positive thing for me. But yeah, we'll see next week, if those stay the same or what happens.
Yeah, I think the 1 week is hard to tell just because of the novelty of it. We'll see next week. And then everything that Will said, I would echo. I think when viewership increases, the whole industry wins. So
yeah, I think that's cool. But I guess you kind of showed your hand there, but do you think that Vince McMahon is at all kicking himself for letting Chris Jericho on the Stone Cold Steve Austin Broken Skull sessions, just like last week, and then this week it turned around for him?
I don't know, man. I think the tides might be changing a little bit, and we're not the biggest Vince McMahon fans, and that's fine. He doesn't care what we think. We're just three NWA fans talking on the internet. But, it does seem like bless you. It does seem like
he's right into that mic, Rob.
And then he muted it. But it does seem like things are opening up a little bit. Things are opening up a little bit, and this, pandemic's been tough on everyone. And, I would hope that maybe Vince is softening up a little bit. That might sound crazy to think about, but maybe he's starting to see the value in opening up and creating some synergy. I don't think we're ever going to see anytime soon. And I don't think we're going to see AEW show up at a WWE pay-per-view or vice versa. But I think some of the things are getting a little more relaxed, which is good again for the whole business.
Yeah.
I think that maybe that I don't know about Vince, but I think maybe Vince's handlers are probably more open and conducive to things. Vince probably doesn't. Yeah, like Biden's. Sorry, can I say that? He probably doesn't know what the heck's going on, man. They just roll Vince out and here.
They're like, Jericho's still here. He's still at WWE. Oh, okay, yeah, let him be on there.
What happened to Rob?
Look at that. Frozen Rob.
Yeah.
Rob, who's your internet provider?
Spectrum.
Oh, okay.
But I'm out in the country, man. Y'all been to my house. Y'all know I'm out. I live like right beside a farm, man. That's like.
Yeah, we went to your house. I brought a knife.
The play's awesome.
Oh man! All right.
Okay. Well, let's see. Hey, what's up, James Lawrence? Welcome to the chat. And I saw Brian Rosa in there too. It's good to see you, Brian. Thanks for joining us. That's the main stuff I had for news. The other big news item that I had, I thought we'd have a little fun with here, guys, is obviously. First, I feel like I should preface this and say, like, when I say having fun and everything, I mean, we'll make the best of a situation. WWE obviously had some major releases this week. and a lot of talent got released. Their biggest release day, I think, since a year ago when they did the same thing right in the middle of the pandemic, and everybody was kind of pissed off with them. I feel like there was a lot of backlash this time around, but a little less so just because of the fact that, I don't know, I guess right now a lot of people feel good that there's talent or places for talent to go work. So hopefully, as things are building back up, maybe it's not as harsh. You hate to see anybody lose their job, but all of these folks are super talented. So I feel like they're still going to find opportunities. And so I'm not really as worried for them, if that's okay to say, I guess.
Well, I think we saw how it went last time. I mean, you look at, and we were all kind of outraged. And I mean, we were all still on the edge because the pandemic we were kind of still in the thick of it. And just the idea of these athletes that we, that are so endearing to us, like lost their jobs, it was just kind of, there was a lot of focus on humanity and that aspect of it. I think this time around we have the full picture of, the Good brothers are, killing it in Impact, getting to work with Kenny again. You've got Miro or Rusev, in the AEW. You've got a lot of these guys that bounced back. And I remember that was kind of the thing that we said a lot a year ago, was that just, as bad as it was, we can't wait to see these guys be utilized. And I even saw some memes over the past few days that people were saying, seeing people get released with like an angry face, but then it was like, then realizing like they can go somewhere and actually not be overlooked, and it's a happy face. And it's like, I think that's kind of the sentiment now. So it's not that we don't care as much, it's just that now we see that there is a lot of opportunity out there, especially us as NWA fans, which I'm sure we're going to talk about. But I mean, there's a lot of open doors, in that regard. So we can go through what you want to talk about, but I'm sure we'll get there.
Yeah, so what I've got here is just a list of those talents that were released, and I thought it might be interesting just to go through the names here and maybe see what our chat room thinks and what you guys think about where you want to see these people end up, or where you think the best fits are for each of these. So I'm going to start it off with, let's just throw this one in, is Corey James Weston, a.k.a. Wesley Blake. Sorry, I had to go to Wikipedia for some of these guys just to see what their real names were. I assume that they don't get to keep names like Wesley Blake here. So Corey James Weston, I think he trained at the Funkin' Dojo, and he had a few different runs. He was like an NXT Tag Team Champion at one point, and member of the Forgotten Sons, and that sort of thing. Just curious, what do you guys think about Corey James Weston? Do you see like a place you picture him in, something that stands out right off the bat?
I'm not super familiar with him, I'll be honest. I mean, I haven't been a big NXT guy over the past couple of years, and he's definitely got the look, of somebody who could fit in really anywhere. I think, yeah, there he is. Got that beard. I don't know. I could see him coming out in AEW, maybe joining a faction or something, being a beat down guy, kind of no conscience, bad guy. I don't know.
Yeah, he was a NXT Tag Team Champion with Buddy Murphy. That's I think that's the only title he won in WWE. PWI ranked him number 121 of the top 500 singles wrestlers in 2015. But he kind of has been a WWE guy for his whole major career outside of the Funkin' Conservatory. So there he is. But Rob, do you have anything you thought of for Wesley Blake here?
Yeah, one of the facts I uncovered in my research is that his maiden name is actually Wesley Briscoe, cousin of the Briscoe brothers.
Stop.
And therefore, I would love to see him reunite with his erstwhile cousins over in Ring of Honor as the Briscoe cousin, Wesley Briscoe. That's just my thoughts. He looks like a Briscoe.
That makes a lot of sense. And Front Row in the chat saying Blake and Murphy were a great tag team in NXT, especially with Bliss. Yeah, that's not actually the one I meant to click on. Front row, by the way. There it is. He thinks Blake screams ROH to him too. So Terry also echoes ROH. So it seems like but Ryan said NWA or JPW. So interesting. It'll be interesting to see where Wesley Blake shows up. I think I lean ROH too. I'm with you guys. All right, let's toss it out to another one here. Let's throw to, I don't know. How about Dean Jonathan Matati, Mojo Rawley? He don't get hype. He stays hype.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, there's Mojo. You've seen him. He's a big fan of Gronk, or big friend of Gronk. So he got some play around that time when Gronk was hosting WrestleMania last year. But, as far as his WWE run, I don't think I think he is the PWI ranked him number 111 of the top 500 singles wrestlers in 2017. He's been a 7-time 24/7 champion for what that is worth. And but he also won the 2017 Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. He's got that trophy to his name. I don't know if they actually get to keep that trophy, but it's sitting in his house if he does. Anyway, you guys, let's see. Rob, I'll throw to you since Will answered first last time. You have any thoughts on Mojo Rawley, where he would end up? I don't feel like we've ever gotten to see like how good he really is, in the ring.
No, but I know that if you're good enough to play for the Green Bay Packers and the Arizona Cardinals, then you're good enough to go to Impact and take on a big guy just like you by the name of Moose. I would love to see Mojo and Moose have a series of matches against each other. Big man versus big man. I think Impact is a place for him.
Yeah, I think I lean. I could see that. I would love to see that. But I feel like some of these guys that have some of these celebrity ties, they like that would be on the radar for AEW. I feel like Tony Khan is, and this is just all presumptuous. I don't know, obviously, anything. But I feel like, he's got that tie to Gronkowski, who was, in WWE for a little while, but he's got kind of that celebrity rub. I feel like people like that are enticing to Tony Khan. And I wouldn't be surprised if he showed up, at least temporarily in AEW.
Ryan Romano says the last thing he remembers about Mojo was him screaming into a mirror. So,
oh yeah, I did that this morning.
Yeah, that's just I usually scream into a mirror like, "Why are you like this?"
Why are you the way that you are?
Yeah. But yeah, I think everybody echoes that Impact thing for the most part. I see Ryan jumped right in with Impact. Front row agreeing Mojo to Impact. Terry says Mojo AEW or nowhere.
There you go. See, you guys are a bunch of Rob. You guys are a bunch of Dr. Rob Marks. Open up, sheeple.
I want to know. Terry McDermott is someone who's got a great opinion. I always respect what he says. I'm curious because when I think of Mojo, I think of him like facing a big guy like Moose. So who in AEW would you see him feuding with? I'm thinking like Murder Hawk, maybe, somebody like that. I'm curious, like who in AEW would he match up well with? And he would be a good fit. There's just like such a logjam of talent there.
Scooby also pointing out that at one point Rawley was a tag partner of Matt Cardona as well. So he's over there in Impact right now. Ryan is also offended, Will, by you.
Mean, don't be, I call him like to see him. Team Rob, huh? All right, that's fine.
Let's see. Front row sticking.
Don't try and drive a wedge. Don't try and drive a wedge between me and Ryan Romano. Me and Ryan Romano like this, man. We thick. Yeah. Like there's no.
Y'all shared a plate of chicken nuggets before.
We shared, man. We shut down the bar at Pinball's Kingdom. Me and Ryan. I had to carry Ryan home. Ryan probably don't even remember. I had to carry him to the house.
He definitely does say in the chat, Rob, that you try to get him drunk at MPW shows. So
that checks out.
That at least makes a lot of sense. So All right. Well, let's go to another person here. We'll jump over to how about these lovely ladies? We'll throw them both in at the same time. You got Jessica McKay and Cassandra McIntosh, aka Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, the Iconics. Now, I don't know that they're going to come together as a package deal. We do know their friendship is legitimate, real life. But they two ladies that both got their releases and really surprising. I think this is one of the bigger surprises on the list, just because Peyton, she had her off and on pushes. Billie Kay was in like a, albeit comedy, she was appearing regularly on television for WWE. So this one caught me off guard. But Will, what are you thinking of former WWE Women's Tag Team Champions there? What do you think about the Iconics? Where are you seeing them?
Well, I think they should be a package deal. They work great together. They're a phenomenal tag team, and shouldn't surprise you that I like keeping good tag teams together. And I'll go the route that you guys keep going. I'll say they scream Impact to me. I could totally see them in Impact as a tag team, and Impact's got a good women's tag team division, and I think they would fit in nicely. And I think keeping them together would be the way to go on that. So,
what about yourself, Rob?
I agree. I think I would say this is a team that I could see either at Impact or the NWA. I think this team would fit well into the women's division of the NWA. I would love to see them match up with the Sea Stars, Ashley Vox, who's an NWA alumnus, and Delmi Exo. The NWA has the potential to on this invigoration, initiation of the NWA to launch a really fantastic women's division. And I think these two women just scream NWA. I mean, I see them matching up with, again, an Ashley Vox. They look like, the Marty Bells and the Allison K's and whatnot. So I'd love to see them match up with a team like the Sea Stars. And while we're at it, bring the Sea Stars back to the NWA as well.
Rob, I'm going to jump in there with you and say I like that idea. I think AEW has a strong chance at grabbing them. I don't know if they're going to go for it, but obviously there's a relationship. I think they're married. Like Shawn Spears and Peyton Royce are married, if I'm not mistaken. So there is that. But aside from that part of it, yeah, front row in the chat just agree with the Iconics versus Thunder Rosa and Alex Gracia. So like that could be a lot of fun. Where I was going to go with it is one thing they both have in spades is the ability to talk. Like as annoying as they could be, they play their role very well as heels on the mic, and they do an excellent job. And so if they could make that work out with NWA, I could definitely see the Iconics fitting in there for sure. But I'd say AEW or NWA, maybe both. So we'll go that way. Let's jump over to, how about this guy? Taylor Michael Rotunda, a.k.a. Bo Dallas. Where we thinking Bo Dallas goes, Rob?
Bo Dallas is either Ring of Honor or NWA. Bo Dallas is somebody that will hook up well against a Mike Bennett or a Matt Taven, or in the NWA, he's someone that would match up well or would square up well against a Matthew Mims or a Tyrus. So I'd like to see him go in one of those two directions.
What are you thinking, Will?
Oh, well, God forbid I disagree with Rob again. I was thinking Ring of Honor. That was my gut reaction. But I would love to see him in the NWA reunited with his former tag team partner, Joe Hennig. And I will keep beating that drum until Joe Hennig pops up somewhere. But I thought they worked well together. I thought they were squandered as a comedy act, even though they held the titles in WWE. It was kind of seen as a joke. I think there's a lot more talent there in both of those guys than was displayed. And I think Bo Dallas he's a really entertaining guy and has that ability, but I think he I think he has more to offer when it comes to being a legit, serious, professional wrestler. So I'd love to see that no matter where he goes.
Yeah, a lot of people agree with the NWA comment. It looks like Terry on board there. Now I will give a shout out to Ryan Romano here, pointing out Bo Dallas to MLW. Now, there's one we haven't even mentioned before, but MLW is out there. So that's an option. Ricky Donna going ROH. Let's see. James Loris went no Dallas at NWA to Bo Dallas. It was an autocorrect.
Yeah. No,
Yes.
he's right. He's right. And certainly some of these names definitely could fit well in MLW. But Bo Dallas, man, I mean, he's got the name and everything. That name just screams like old school, like Cowboy Bill Watson. Bo Dallas, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he just feels like he would be, just the name alone would make him.
You're kidding yourself if you think he's going to be able to keep that name. But
yeah,
I think for me, it's he's a second or third generation guy. How many?
Yeah, I don't.
Oh,
at
this would be
least
third,
second.
at least in the Rotunda family.
Third.
At least
Yeah,
third.
so,
I'd say at least third.
Yeah, so second or third generation guy. Hennig's the same way. Like, I love seeing those guys paired up just because of the history of it, which I think fits well in the NWA and the narrative of the most historic, longest lasting wrestling promotion in history. So I could see them, being that under their real names, and not having a character or anything like that, just being themselves and being the great, multi-generational athletes that they are. And that's what I'm really craving from them. And I think the NWA is a great place for them to showcase that.
It would be nice, as Scooby saying, bring the Rotunda name back to the NWA. Yeah, I mean, you get Rotunda and Hennig. That carries a lot of weight for the types of fans that are into the NWA, so it makes a lot of sense there.
Yeah.
All right, let's throw another one in here. Let's go with a lady. How about Chelsea Green? Also recently released. I just went with the picture that every single article I see about her uses, and I can't figure out why they're all using the same picture, but there it is. Anyway, so Chelsea Green is that was sarcasm, by the way. I totally see why it's
we get it.
Her athletic prowess. Anyway, so Will, I'll let you go on this one. Chelsea Green, where are you thinking?
Oh, man. My gut is Impact. I think she'd be great there. I wouldn't be shocked to see her show up as soon as possible on like a AEW Dark. They have a really vibrant, showing of female talent, obviously from Mission Pro and stuff like that. And I'd love to see her, square up against some of those ladies. And I would say AEW or Impact.
What about yourself, Rob? What are you thinking for Chelsea?
Yeah, I don't see her showing up on Dark immediately. I mean, this is a former Impact's Knockouts champion, Laurel Van Ness. I think would make a triumphant return to Impact and would immediately make a mark again. I would also like to see her potentially show up in the NWA again. I'm interested in the NWA starting to flesh out the women's division there. So I would see her. I'd place her back in Impact. Making a title run there, making a triumphant return, or showing up in the NWA alongside Melina, trying to court the interests of Thunder Rosa. So that's where I see her.
That's very interesting. Now, again, just to, not to make us a gossip site or anything, but I guess it's worth mentioning that she's currently engaged to Matt Cardona. So Impact also stands out there as a possible option if they wanted to bring those two back together. But AEW doesn't seem crazy to me either, because they've used her before as far as like All In. She was a part of the first women there at that pay-per-view, which also gives her the connection technically to Ring of Honor as well. So she's got a relationship with all those people. But anyway, Chelsea Green. and of course, if you're just joining us, thanks, by the way, hit subscribe. But also just that we're talking about all these people with the assumption they're getting another job because there's plenty of places to work. We're just trying to figure out where they go. We got a few more here before we get to trivia night. But let's talk about now. What about Kalisto, a.k.a. his real name is Emmanuel Alejandro Rodriguez. But Kalisto, a high flyer, luchador. Where does Kalisto end up after his recent release from the WWE? Rob, what do you feel for Kalisto?
I put him back in AAA or in New Japan. That high flying style is great. I don't really see it resonating right now with what's going on in the NWA. Not to say that, and again, don't interpret that as disrespect at all. You've got a lot of lucha influence stuff going on in AEW, certainly in the WWE. But man, gosh, right now the AAA's got world championship status along with the NWA, MLW, and some other promotions. Just recognized in last month's issue of PWI, and I think Kalisto would be an immediate impact player in AAA.
Yeah, I think it really boils down to what he wants to do, which obviously we don't know. We haven't talked to him, but I think if his desire is to get more into somewhere where that lucha style is more celebrated, I think AAA is where he's going to end up. I think if he wants to stay in the States and do that, I think AEW or Ring of Honor are the two places where he could be showcased the most, for his abilities. Obviously, WWE is not the spot. If you're not Rey Mysterio and you're a lucha guy, you're not going to be given the time of day. So I think those are his options. It just all depends on whether he wants to go to Mexico or stay in the States.
It's really interesting, like when I think about these guys. I mean, obviously we have an NWA bias that we're gonna immediately try to picture what a person would look like in the National Wrestling Alliance if they fit in there. I also when I think about AEW right now, because I know that's like the obvious, like Tony Khan's got the money and he can pay for whoever and yada, yada, yada. The one thing I always think about with them is like they've got so many people right now. Like who are they going to be looking for? Or do they have a use for this person? Like with the Kalisto, I see in the chat, Terry mentioning it, and a lot of AAA mentions, which makes a lot of sense. But the AEW to me is just like, well, would he stand out in AEW? Do they need another luchador character when you've got the Lucha Bros? Right. You've got Ray Phoenix, Ray Phoenix is a master wrestler. But you've got Santana and Ortiz and like those kind of guys. Like, do you need another fast, high flying guy? Would he stand out there? And I'm not sure. Now, Ring of Honor possibly. But now, Front Row mentioned it here, and this is exactly the scenario that crossed my mind. So Front Row and I on the same page, like just if he were to come to the NWA wouldn't mind a few Kalisto versus Matt Cross matches, Front Row saying, and that I was thinking like, the thing about Matt Cross in the NWA right now is he can stand out as a smaller guy in a big man territory, but would Kalisto fit in there? I mean, he possibly could. So it'd be interesting to see if they could use him for a thing here or there. Ryan Wilcox over on Facebook saying that Kalisto versus Leo Rush and MLW would be a great rivalry. So that's another thing. Those would be some badass matches. That's a good call, Ryan.
Right.
All right. Well, let's move to, I don't know if this is the same way for everybody, but for me, they were the two biggest surprises. So that's why I saved these guys for last. Obviously, right now, we'll go to one that's near and dear to our hearts as the wife of the real world's heavyweight champion, Nick Aldis, and that is Mickie James. Unfortunately, was released from WWE. What the hell are they thinking? I don't know. But Mickie James, a legend in women's wrestling, multi-time women's champion, and she was released this week by WWE as well. Will, right off the bat, where do you think Mickie James should head?
I like that you're asking us this like we don't like you don't already know. Like she needs to be in the NWA, carving out her own spot as the queen of the NWA alongside her husband, and I think that's a storybook situation. So could she end up anywhere else? Sure, but I mean, man, that's a no-brainer for me.
Rob, you feeling that same thing?
Whew. Yeah, I mean, I think of like some of the great like rival couples ever, like power couples like James Carville and Mary Madeline. Mary Madeline, lifelong Republican correspondence, and of course James Carville, a Democratic advisor, and they have this long happy marriage. They've even written a book about love, politics, and marriage, and how they've managed to stay together all these years, though being on the opposite side of the void from each other, politically speaking. And gosh, man, Mickie James would be the options you got bringing Mickie James into the NWA. I see an instant. Can I speak for a couple of minutes here, man? I'm gonna filibuster here for a minute.
You go right ahead, Rob.
I see all kind of possibilities with this, and we had our private correspondence. I don't understand what goes into mindset when you don't re-sign a Mickie James. A Mickie James. I mean, she's one of the greats of all times, and anybody I think would be chomping at the bit to add her to the roster just for what she brings, just on name value. But then we bring her into the NWA, and look suddenly what you got. Look at the possibilities. You've got either an alliance or a rivalry between Mickie James and Melina, two of the great WWE women's champions ever. You got the chance of that playing out in the GPB studio. You got a chance of her obviously going into strictly business, but there's another first woman of pro wrestling already, and that is Camille. And so you have the possibility of her coming in and her and Nick Aldis not seeing eye to eye, and there being an intramural rivalry or an intrafamilial rivalry between her and Mickie James, between Aldis and Mickie James, leading separate factions. You've got the possibility of her feuding with Thunder Rosa. I mean, gosh, man, I could rattle off like about 12, 13, maybe even 17 different stories right now, just with what Mickie James brings to the equation. She is a game changer, between her and Samoa Joe. I know you're going to get to Samoa Joe. I think she is the biggest wild card, not to you, no pun intended, in this whole roster release there. She is the one that can turn the NWA upside down, reinvigorate the women's division, add a lot of drama, and man, this could be big time stuff. Or you could go like what Front Row's saying right there. She could grab the Burke, and then you got a power couple. You've got a battle of power couples between Tom Latimer and Camille versus Mickie James and Nick Aldis. All these possibilities are there if you bring her in, if she's ready to come into the NWA. And I know she's ready, but if she's like, if her heart's in it. So, I mean, honestly, let's be real here. Mickie James could go to Impact, Ring of Honor, MLW, SWE, AAA, whatever. She could do whatever she wants to do. This is a woman who can write her own destination. But where do we want to see her? Obviously, for 1,000,001 reasons, we want to see her in the NWA. Please, Mickie James. Please, Queen. Come to the NWA.
It's true. I mean, when you talk about Mickie James and the legacy she leaves, the company that we feel like would recognize it the most, her potential would be the National Wrestling Alliance. Obviously she's succeeded. She's a 3-time TNA Knockouts champion. So she's been there. She's won the TNA World Cup of Wrestling, I think. And she's Woman of the Year, 2009 and 2011 for Pro Wrestling Illustrated. She was ranked number 1 of the top 50 female wrestlers in PWI back in 2009. She is just a legend as far as women's wrestling goes. 5-time WWE Women's Champion. Another time was with the Divas Championship, which, however you want to consider that. I would just say 6-time WWE Women's Champion. But Mickie James, a true legend in the business. So she's out there floating around, ready to make her own way. And you're right, Rob, she could write her own ticket. She can do whatever she wants to. Nothing can stop her. We'd love to see her take that and build the NWA. Imagine her being one of the people in the NWA right now, able to usher in the next generation of female talent that come in there to want to learn how to wrestle. Mickie James, who's the best to get you there. And a feud with Camille would be epic too, to just take Camille to the next level. That said, another person that could easily write their own ticket potentially, and the final of the releases from WWE this week was Samoa Joe somehow was let go from WWE. Now, the only thing here I would say that the question on everybody's mind, I think, would be he's been on commentary for a little while due to some concussion issues. So I wonder, is Samoa Joe able to wrestle? Because you'd feel like if he is able to wrestle, he could end up anywhere. But just for his mind and his commentary alone, I think he's worth a consideration and could also end up in a company. But just curious, Will, when you think of Samoa Joe, what comes to mind?
Well, he had some beginnings in Ring of Honor. I don't know. I just personally, I feel like Samoa Joe, and this is no slight to Ring of Honor, I just feel like he achieved a level of stardom or fame or whatever, where, it would be tough to see him going anywhere besides like an AEW where he would be on national TV. I mean, I think he's that caliber of a guy. And I do think he was underutilized. He came really close to being in the world title picture in WWE, and I was super stoked for that. I mean, he was feuding with Brock Lesnar and guys like that, and I was like, man, this is it. He's finally gonna reach this point, and then that kind of squandered. I think he did get injured, so I don't blame WWE for that. I think he got injured and was kind of pulled out of that whole picture. But I mean, he was doing great on commentary. I loved him on commentary. I watched WrestleMania, and he was great on commentary. That's why it was so shocking to me, is because he was front and center on WrestleMania as a commentator and did an incredible job. But I think some of that speculation now about injury and whether or not he's medically cleared, I think that's a big story right now. But if he's medically cleared and can go anywhere, I just feel like AEW would be a place, whether they're gonna, treat him right or not, or give him the position he should be. That would be my first guess.
Just for some additional context, Front Row said in the chat here, he heard that WWE didn't clear him to wrestle, so he wanted to go elsewhere to get back in the ring.
Yeah,
so
which makes sense.
Oh yeah, sorry. I guess I should have thrown to Rob. I apologize. I'm still new to
Rob,
this.
you can speak now.
Okay, I'm just waiting on Gary to. Again, Samoa Joe, like Mickie James, Samoa Joe is the guy. By the way, Marcell Ozuna just homered Will, and the Braves are up 7-3. Go Braves! Anyway, just. Like Mickie James, Samoa Joe is a guy who he's one of those names who's one of the essential names. He's a big name, and this is a Kurt Angle. This is a Sting. He carries that kind of weight. For those of us who've been watching the sport, following especially Impact, and now the WWE, and I don't follow WWE, but definitely if you go back to Impact days, back in the mid 2010s, that this is a guy that is a game changer, no matter what capacity he participates in, whether it's in wrestling or whether it's on commentary or managing or whatever. He could go anywhere. He could go into AEW and he'd be a big deal. I think AEW is really getting really deep, and I'm afraid that talented people have to run the risk of getting lost in the shuffle there, just because the roster is so expanded with what they're trying to do and everything. Again, like with Mickie James, who would not want to see Samoa Joe show up in the NWA? And would he be able to wrestle? I would want him to get his body in order. Braves up 8-3. I want to get his body in order, his body in line, be healthy. If he's not been cleared in the WWE, I wouldn't want those standards to drop. But someone mentioned in the past, or Dave Scooby there mentioned that he and Aldis have a past together. Is Samoa Joe capable of wresting that world's championship from Nick Aldis today? I don't think so. I think he's a little older. His body is damaged. Nick Aldis, I think, is probably the greatest wrestler on earth right now, at the top of his game. He's in peak physical form. His endurance is unparalleled. But when I think about some of the great legendary feuds in the NWA back, in the late 80s, back towards the end of the Crockett era, I think of like Ric Flair versus the Junkyard Dog. What a feud that was. Now, did anybody have any realistic hope that the Junkyard Dog at that stage in his career would be able to take the title from Flair? No, I don't think so. But he could have. I mean, in any given day, a wrestler at that caliber can pull a surprise out, and Samoa Joe is certainly capable. He has the repertoire. He's got the knowledge. They've got the history. Probably nobody probably knows Nick Aldis as a competitor better than Samoa Joe does. The mutual respect is there. So you could see him coming in the NWA in an in-ring capacity. However, let me throw this out there. What made the Four Horsemen so great besides the talents? Obviously, Arn, Tully, Barry, Ole, Rick, Lex. They were great in their own right, but it was J.J. Dillon's mind. J.J. Dillon's mind that made the Four Horsemen so lethal. What if a Samoa Joe comes in and becomes the foil to a Austin Idol, becomes the true manager, the guider of Strictly Business? Or better yet, what if he comes in and he is courted by Strictly Business only to give his services to the great Tim Storm, or somebody on the outside looking in, trying to get that championship? What if he's the one that drives a wedge between Adonis and Strictly Business? I mean, the possibilities, again, I hate to get into story writing. We're not bookers. We're just fans. I'm just dreaming here. But I think Samoa Joe, just like Mickie James, opens up so many possibilities in the NWA just because of the history that he has with Nick Aldis. And again, Nick Aldis is the key there. He's got that. He's got that knowledge. He's got that ring history. They've been on the same side as each other, and they've looked across the ring at each other. I think he's got all kinds of potential, and obviously there's a great deal of respect between the power brokers in the NWA and Samoa Joe, and he would easily slide into something big. What about Samoa Joe and Tyrus forming an association under the auspices of Austin Idol? I mean, again, I'm just dreaming here. You got limitless possibilities. I only want to see Samoa Joe in the NWA. I don't want to see him anywhere else.
I just don't think Samoa Joe needs an Austin Idol. That would be my issue with that theory. Like Samoa Joe's he's like a lone wolf kind of guy as far as that goes. He's a guy who stands on his own. It would seem like
that's
on
the one thing.
That's
the one thing you picked up on, Gary. That's the one thing. Like I said, Austin Idol once, and you're like, oh, I don't. Hold on now. I said about 20 other things.
You asked a question about him hooking up with Tyrus. I was answering your question.
What about the other questions I asked?
I wasn't listening to anything else. Yeah.
We kind of
when you filibuster and ask like 20 questions, we forget what you're even talking about anymore. No, I'm just kidding. Man? No, listen, I'm with you, man. I would love to see him in NWA. I don't know how feasible that is to happen.
Talk to the hand. Yeah.
What's a price tag on a Samoa Joe? Like, I mean, you got to go all in. All right. Anyway, so you got to.
What? Yeah. Anyway,
he's like, all right. No,
the Brave score's going to play well for tomorrow's podcast audience.
Yeah, I would obviously love to see him in the NWA. I think if he shows up in the NWA and does anything other than go after Nick Aldis and the 10 pounds of gold, that would almost be a waste. Not to knock any of the storylines you just brainstorm, but I just feel like that. I mean, I agree with Front Row that. That's a money feud right there. And you want to talk about, I know, you talk a lot, Rob, about, who's Nick Aldis's Dusty Rhodes and stuff like that. Man, it could be Samoa Joe easily, hands down. That could be a feud that we talk, our grandkids talk about. So
Yeah, I mean, you would want to see there are certain releases, right? Like they're not even just releases. Okay, there are certain people that if WWE cut them right now, that immediately when they walk in the door, they are a title contender. Like they have a shot at the World's Heavyweight Championship. Samoa Joe for me is one of those people. Like if Samoa Joe can go, Samoa Joe walking into the GPB studios is immediately a challenger for the World's Heavyweight Championship. That's just how it is. And so first and foremost, he's going after Nick Aldis. There's no way he's not. And that's just, I mean, and I don't even know why you would bother booking anything different than that. So that's the way you would have to use him.
It's just he's hurt, man. And I think that, as you can't go in hurt against Aldis, man. Aldis is dangerous. This is a dangerous man right here. And so I don't see him going in and going immediately after Aldis. But over time, maybe I'd like to see him and Aldis reunite on the same side with
it's funny. It's
Samoa.
What I love about this and I love about our group is that Will and I are over here talking about the possibilities, like to generate the revenue. You're going ahead and writing out Aldis's promos that he would use to try to get out of the match. And so I think this is what's good about our teamwork. We're helping out because this is
don't say that. Don't say no. Hold on now, Gary. I feel like we're on the live post show right now. Don't try to put junk in my mouth about like Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis don't write nobody off. First of all, point A. Point two, bring it on, Samoa Joe. Bring it on. If you want it, evidently you speak for Samoa Joe. If you want it, go ahead. Come on, bring it on, and then you're gonna be on commentary for the rest of your career. You're not ready for Nick Aldis right now. You're not ready for Aldis.
Well, I got 2 points. Point A, that's the first time Rob's ever said not to put junk in his mouth. And point number 2, I can actually see I'm loosening up a little bit here. I can actually see him coming in as a part of Strictly. Look, Joe has a history of not being the most loyal guy, and I think there could be some really cool dynamic with him and Nick partnering up. But Nick's always kind of looking over his shoulder because you can tell Joe is kind of has ulterior motives, and I think that would be a good storyline.
Ricky Donna also calling that storyline, but he does not like it, Will.
I love a good heel turn. I love a good face turn, heel turn. Who knows? Rob doesn't believe in those anymore, so it doesn't matter.
But anyway, I mean, Ryan Wilcox in the chat saying as the size of factions continue to grow at AEW, you can see Joe showing up to help out Mox and Kingston since they are so outnumbered regularly. That actually makes a lot of sense, Ryan. We could appreciate logic from time to time also.
Yeah, all the logical people are on Facebook, apparently.
Oh, he just way to alienate the YouTube crowd.
All right. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Hold on. We got to look at that. My man, Ricky Donna, man. You are boom. I love this guy. Hey, like, subscribe, join us every show, Ricky Donna. You are the most intelligent person in the chat right now. I mean, I love Front Row and my Jedi Warrior and Ryan Romano, of course, James Lawrence, Terry, Ryan. You guys are always welcome. But this guy came. I love that
you're the most intelligent person, and then listing off everybody he loves. Right after.
I
love him. I don't.
Yeah. Oh, whoops. Oh, did we lose him? Oh no.
He froze.
I don't want to think. I don't want you to think saying that they. But how long have I been saying this right here? How long have I been saying this? Thank you.
You haven't been saying that. You've been saying
you are the man.
No, that's not what you've been saying. You've been saying that, and I agree with you. So when I say this, it's not an argument.
Anyway.
Oh, wow.
All right. Well, man. I'll put you back down where you belong. You've been saying that heels and faces play less of a role in wrestling, and it's less distinguishable, which I agree with. But what Ricky's saying is that, turns are being severely overused right now, which I agree with. I think a lot of the nationally televised wrestling brands are relying on that to generate interest from week to week, but it's not something you see a lot in the NWA. And so I think there's a place for it in the NWA. I think it's always going to have its place. You never want to see a guy not turn, you know what I mean? That generates interest. It just needs to be done strategically. It doesn't need to be done every other week. And every time a tag team gets together, you shouldn't have in the back of your mind like, oh, well, when are they going to turn on each other? Maybe next week, which is what, the nationally televised promotions have started doing. So.
Well, have we run the gamut on these?
Wrestling is best.
Go ahead, Rob.
9-3. 9-3. I think wrestling is its best. Wrestling is best when it's hold on.
What is happening?
I got an important comment here about herpes.
Yeah, we got to get this up here. Let's see.
It's apropos that it is covering Rob right here.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, if this is helpful to anyone, we just want to we're public servants, if nothing
I especially
else.
love that I thought the last name there was Damian Stinson.
Yeah, I take back what I said about all the logical people being on Facebook. That was quickly.
I'm not going to sit here and say that that heels and faces are useless and contrived and they don't happen. I just think that one of the good things about the NWA historically has been that the NWA has not been preoccupied with that. The NWA has been human interest stories. Think back to 1989, one of the greatest trilogies of all time, Flair and Steamboat. Obviously, Flair played the role. He didn't play a role. He was what he was. He was the the millionaire, nightlife, fast lane guy against the Family Guy, Ricky Steamboat. But Ric Flair, when you were in New Orleans in the second match of that trilogy, Flair was being cheered and Ricky Steamboat was being booed. You know what I mean? There wasn't heel or face. It was human interest stories. And I think when you get to something like the NWA, when you bring a Samoa Joe in or whatnot, you can't look at that and say that Samoa Joe's immediately going to be a good guy and Nick's not a bad guy. Nick is self-interested, which is not a bad thing. I think that's what. So look at Floyd Money Mayweather. A lot of people would say he's a heel, but he's not a bad guy. He's self-interested. He's a self-promoter. And if you're going to get anywhere in this business, that's what you have to do. You have to self-promote. So, you have some people that their personal drama and their inspirational stories like Trevor Murdoch's become something that the fans can latch onto. But it's not like, Tim Storm has never done anything shady in the ring. Tim Storm has done lots of shady things in the ring, but his human interest story appeals to the masses, whereas Nick Aldis sort of rubs the masses the wrong way. So it's not like they're good or bad, and it's not like you get what I'm saying. It's not like I don't believe in heels or faces. I think heels and faces, though, are a matter of interpretation. I think there are times when the Road Warriors were certainly acting like heels, but were being treated like faces by the fans. And it's whatever the fans like. And ultimately, you do best when you represent yourself and when you represent your own interests.
I will say I prefer when it is what you're describing, Rob, when it's a little more nuanced and there's not clear because it gives us as fans, us as viewers, it makes it more entertaining, and like we have, there's TV shows where the bad guy's the good guy. You can't really even nail down. I mean, I'm a huge Sons of Anarchy fan, and the heroes, quote unquote, of that show are outlaws. You know what I mean? And that's just the culture that we live in. And I think that there's a lot of value to doing that. And again, not to throw promotions under the bus, but when you look at the nationally televised promotions, they're the ones that seem to want to draw this clear line between good guys and bad guys. But I agree with you. When I watch the NWA, there's things that I respect about Nick Aldis. There's things that I will cheer for when it comes to Nick Aldis, the way he carries that title, the way that he represents the company. But then there's things that, I'm like, I don't know if that was an honorable thing to do, and we get into that on Tuesday nights, but that's the beauty of pro wrestling. It's not supposed to be so cut and dry. It's not always supposed to be. It's supposed to be who you like, who's your favorite, who do you cheer for, and that's your people. And I prefer my wrestling to be a little more gray.
Yeah,
right.
no, you're absolutely right. I love this. I love this remark by Ricky Donna there. I remember Flair turning face after Funk attacked him. Sting, of course, came to Flair's aid. That set up a legendary feud between Flair and Funk. Flair and Sting versus Funk in the Great Muta. But remember, and I guess that was a heelish thing to do. Funk wanted that championship. He was miffed that Flair didn't. I remember after Flair had beaten Steamboat, and Funk challenged Flair for the championship. Remember, Funk is a former NWA champion. He's one of the only brother tandem to hold the championship, and he had a quality reign, several hundreds of days. And he challenges Rick. He's like, I want to be the first to challenge you for the championship. And what does Flair say? Flair says, well, I don't know what you've been – I know you've been out there hanging out with some – Funk felt dismissed by that, and he attacked Flair, Well, the feud plays out. It was a brutal feud. I remember Flair was out with a while for a neck injury because of that pile driver that Funk had delivered to Flair. But at the end of the I Quit match at Clash of the Champions, the thing was, the catch was, if I beat you, you got to shake my hand. You got to shake my hand. And Flair beat him. Now, if Funk was pure evil, pure unadulterated evil, if he he's not going to shake Flair's hand. He's going to double cross Flair, and him and Gary Hart and Muta are going to pummel Flair, whatever, and lead to the next chapter. But what does he do after that match? You remember? Gary Hart said, don't do it, Funk. Don't do it. But Funk says, no, I told him I'm going to shake his hand, and now I'm going to shake his hand. And he shook his hand, and that showed Funk to be a sportsman, not an evil mercenary, an athlete. He had self-interest. Yeah. He wanted the championship. There was bad blood. He was miffed. But at the end of the day, Funk showed himself to be a man of integrity. And that's what I love. Aldis, you don't like – I love how Gary, every time we talk about it, Aldis, Gary wants to bring up Tim Storm. The spear, that Rocky Marciano. He always want to bring that up. But at the end of the day, let me remind you, who did Aldis endorse to be mayor of Carneyland? He endorsed Tim Storm, bruh.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget that.
For all the wrestling trivia that we're going to get into in a little bit, by the way, that should have been one of the questions right there.
Give the man an award.
Oh man, that is a callback.
You talking about you go after Gary for bringing up the Tim Storm thing over and over, and you're going to dig so deep that you're going to talk about the mayor of Carneyland endorsement. We got a lot of pots and kettles in this argument. I don't know who's who, but geez.
Just remember, man. No, like we said about the Thunder Rosa the Camille spear after the Thunder Rosa match, no king can tolerate a pretender to the throne. And so what I'm just going to say, as a matter of just geopolitics, what Tim Storm, Camille, and Strictly Business, what Aldis, Camille, and Strictly Business did to Tim Storm was rationally justified. It was justified.
The man has a PhD.
He does. Can't deny that. All right, folks. Well, hey, Ryan Murphy, Front Row, WWLTD, Ricky Donna, Terry, everybody, thanks for being here with us. If you haven't already, for some reason you're here, you've never subscribed to the channel, we'd love it if you did. Also, I don't know, just a shout out. Thanks for being here. We also do want to shout out the Real World's Champion, despite what Rob thinks I think about him. I will say that his supplement line over at Legacy Sports Nutrition is outstanding, and their pre-workout is what's keeping me going right now, still at this point. And you can get all of that over at legacysups.com. You should definitely hit them up, because if you use code NWAFAM, you get 10% off over there, thanks to the Real World's Heavyweight Champion. So we are grateful to him for that. We got to play wrestling trivia. We promised that. It's on the YouTube thumbnail. We're sitting here. arguing back and forth about all kinds of stuff. We got.
Well, I'm going to take a potty break before we get into that.
All right, so Will's going to leave.
I'll BRB.
All right, that's fine. I told everybody 9:30 anyway. Rob, do you have any trivia questions today? Because I got so many. I have.
Man, I got a bunch. Yeah, I got a bunch.
I figured you just have like random trivia books or something. You just seem like you would have that.
I mean, I've got board games and stuff like that that've got questions on them, but I've got some trivia I can fall back on.
All right. Well, when we play, by the way, chat room, when we play trivia, I might ask Rob and Will some questions, see what they think. We want to hear from you. We want you guys to answer, but no Googling it. We got sensors set up on every single one of your computers, so we know if you Googled the answer. So you can't Google any of it. Rob, you feel like filibustering for a minute? I'll just go pee before we start trivia real quick.
Yeah, man, I can filibuster. What you want to get? Just give me a topic. I'll filibuster on it.
Rob, Ricky Donna says this is what made Race the greatest world champion and Flair possibly the second greatest champion of all time is they both could work his face and heel and could have great matches.
Yeah, man. Race and Flair are you can make an argument that either one of them are the greatest of all time. I've got 6 or 7 that are blue chip guys. I mean, you think of guys like obviously Lou Thesz. You've got Dory Funk Jr. with that great illustrious title reign. You've got Dusty didn't have the belt for the days that those guys did, but he was a great transitional champion. You got to throw Nick Aldis into that mix. I mean, you can't, you throw Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis just for what they've meant for the NWA in the modern era. And I think nobody feels like Flair like Aldis does. Aldis brings everything except for and no disrespect to Flair at all. Flair was great, but Flair was business, but he's kind of sleazy. He was a man of the night. Aldis brings all of those factors, but he's not sleazy. Aldis is a family man. He's focused. He's honed in, which means I think ultimately that's going to give him greater longevity. But they all share the same that same character trait that you're mentioning, Ricky Donna, is that they're not good guys and they're not bad guys. They're not heels or they're not faces. They are competitors. They're competitors. I mean, their interest is not in, hey, I'm going to hurt somebody or I'm going to be evil. And now, don't get me wrong, the Horsemen did attack Dusty Rhodes outside of the Crockett offices. They did. They broke his arm. But I look at that again, like to what I was saying earlier about the fact that a king cannot tolerate a pretender to the throne, and I think the Rhodes Flair rivalry was bigger than them. At that point, it was a grudge between him and the Horsemen, and I don't think Flair appeared in that attack video. So you could not to say that Flair's exonerated or that he wasn't involved at all, or that it wasn't to keep him from challenging for that championship. But I think ultimately they are the best. These champions are the absolute best when they're not preoccupied with something like what you see in the WWE, where someone just shows up and they're just pure evil. Like I just show up and I'm frothing at the mouth just because I hate you for no reason, just because I just woke up one day and I hate you. And then that hate extends till the next pay-per-view when we wrestle, and then I don't hate you anymore. I go on to hate the next person. That's tired. That's ridiculous. What the NWA, what place like Ring of Honor does it too, man. They draw out these human interest stories, these competitive, stories between the top draws, between the big dogs, who inevitably, because of the weight of what they do in the ring, because of the authority of their talent and and what they're able to accomplish and where they place themselves, we see them inevitably clash. Not because one's good or evil, but because by the nature of the case, because the sport demands it, they must face each other. Tim Storm and Nick Aldis must face each other. They have to. I mean, who doesn't think at some point that Tom Latimer and Nick Aldis must face each other, or that Chris Adonis and Nick Aldis must face each other. They must. It has to happen. Not because one's good or one's evil, but because the sport demands it. They are the big dogs. And if you want prize fighting, if you want prize fight wrestling, it only happens when the big guys face each other. And so it's best when heel or face, it plays in insofar as the fans gravitated which human interest story they gravitate towards, which one they most identify with. Do I identify with the privileged person or the hard worker? You know, the privileged Nick Aldis or the hard-working blue-collar Trevor Murdoch. Obviously, the fans gravitate towards Trevor Murdoch because they identify with him, but that doesn't make Nick Aldis therefore evil. It just means they identify with this story more. Me, I'm privileged. You know, I'm a blue blood. I identify with Aldis. You know what I mean? We eat out every day. I eat steak or lobster every single day. My wife and I went to a $75 whiskey tasting day at Chattanooga Whiskey by invitation only. That's the kind of circles I run in. So therefore, I don't see eye to eye with Trevor Murdoch. I don't, it's been a long time since I've been living off the meagerest of wages, grits and gravy. You know, I'm eating lobster and filet mignons. Nick Aldis is my guy. How's that for a filibuster, Gary?
I had a half-eaten peanut butter sandwich for dinner. So
my wife brought me food from her in-laws' house, so that's what I had. So that's from my in-laws' house. I mean, all right. Well, we're gonna play wrestling trivia now. I think a lot of you are here for that, so hopefully, I think this will be fun. We'll just interact with the chat. Keep in mind, like Ryan has pointed out in the chat, I'm Big Brother. I know I can see if you Google something. If you Google it, I'll know. So y'all need to chill because we're asking legit questions. And I know that a lot of you guys aren't going to be happy with this, but we're going to start off with some WWE trivia for a lot of reasons. And one of those reasons.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, just relax for a second. My wife, for Christmas, she bought me this game. It's called WWE Pop Quiz.
He's gone. We did it.
We did it. We got rid of him. So there's so many
lobster tail.
And anyway, I promised my wife that we would use this on the show. So I it's whiskey for
and I brushed my teeth with a bottle of Jack.
Yeah.
Just like Kershaw.
Just like Kesha. Yeah, you should change the S and Stinson to a money sign.
She wants to know if people are better at this game than me because, like, she asked me some of these questions sometimes. Like, she'll come up randomly when I was working from home more so, especially. And she'll be like, I'll give you a kiss if you can answer 10 of these questions. And then she asked me, like, 10 of these questions. And I am not very good at it because some of them are ridiculous. And you had to have been paying attention to WWE in the last 10 years. And I haven't been paying as much attention. That said, I'm going to ask a few from here. We'll see how it goes. And if not, we'll move on to some other stuff. So hope you're ready. Here we go. Let's see.
Hey, before we get started, are we gonna give the chat time to answer, or are we just gonna roll into it? Because there's a little bit of a delay.
Oh yeah, we should definitely give the chat time to answer. 10 questions for a kiss, Ryan. That's right. That's how we played it. All right, so we'll start off simple enough. Who burst into Brian Pillman's home during an infamous live edition of Raw in 1996? I'd have got that one. Anybody?
Rob?
Anybody? Wow. Well,
Rob
first of all, I'm just going to stick with the one card then.
I know. We're going to give the chat, right? We're going
to. Yeah, I'm just like that. Chat's on it. Chat's saying
there's not much of a delay.
A lot of Steve Austin in the chat for this one.
Yeah.
You guys agree with the chat?
Unfortunately, it was Booker T. Sorry, guys.
Yep, sorry, it was Booker T. No, okay. All right.
Midnight Rider.
Yeah. Give us something hard.
Who did Shinsuke Nakamura defeat in his WWE debut? at NXT TakeOver Dallas?
Oh boy. There's no multiple choice, right? We're just
No multiple choice
have
on
to know
these. You just have to know.
I feel like front row will know this. Wait for
No
him to chime
Googling.
in.
Don't you Google
Steve
it?
Austin.
Yeah, I was going to
Oh,
say, I
that
saw
was the other
Jedi
question.
Warrior saying Steve Austin. Ryan Romano throwing in Sami Zayn. Ricky Donis throwing in Sami Zayn. Yeah, you guys are right. It is Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is who Shinsuke Nakamura defeated in his debut.
Ryan Romano Googled. Our bot just said Ryan Romano Googled.
No, Ryan Romano. I told you.
You're disqualified.
All right, some of these are older than I remembered them being. Like, for instance, whom did Randy Savage defeat to become the Macho King? Who is the person that Randy Savage
was it
beat?
Haku?
Jared,
Was it Haku or Harley Race?
Do you know that those were my first two guesses too? And the answer is no, apparently, on that. My wife asked me this one the other day. Ooh, Jonathan Darwin popping in with a Jim Duggan, he says, right there.
well,
Terry
we got a bunch of
McDermott
Jim
seconds
Duggans
that.
here.
Yeah, we're getting some Jim Duggans in the chat. Oh, Scooby said
Well,
Jim Duggan.
Googlers.
I'm gonna have to confirm
Googlers.
it was Googlers. It was Jim Duggan. Jim Duggan
all right.
is the answer to that question. All right. How about this? Who threw in the towel for Bret Hart when he lost the WWE Championship in a submission match to Bob Backlund at Survivor Series 94? Who threw in the towel?
Rob, I feel like you would know that one.
I do.
Well, then answer the question.
I'm letting the chat answer. That's what we
Ricky
said,
Donna
right?
says Owen Hart. James Lawrence says his mom. Ryan Romano says Owen Hart. Front row says Owen. Jonathan Darwin says Martha Hart.
Oh, we're getting some different answers here.
Ooh, we are getting some different answers here. Will and Rob, you're going to have to weigh in and see if you can get this right.
I'm leaning
Wasn't
towards
it
Mama
British
Hart.
Bulldog?
Okay, Rob saying British Bulldog, maybe. It was actually Helen Hart. Helen
Oh.
is so I mean
That's right.
yeah, Helen is the person who threw in the towel. Owen did convince her, so that may be what some of you were thinking of. But yeah, Stu and Helen are Brett's parents. So yeah, Helen Hart. Here's a good one. WrestleMania 2. Who was the heavy metal legend that managed the British Bulldogs? WrestleMania 2. Which heavy metal legend managed the British Bulldogs?
Heavy metal legend.
You guys know this.
Oh,
Is it
we got
Alice Cooper?
some I don't knows.
It's a good
Oh,
guess.
we got-
That's a good
oh, here
guess.
comes
That's a
Ozzy.
good guess.
All right. Yeah.
Alice Cooper is a
Looks
good
like-
guess. I think that's
Looking like
actually who
Ozzy.
I
By the
guessed.
way, By the way,
originally.
2 weeks before Petra was born, my wife and I got the chance to see Alice Cooper. We've seen Alice Cooper 6 or 7 times. We got to see him like 2 weeks before Petra was born at Memorial Coliseum here in Chattanooga. And so she came out like she was born to love Alice Cooper, but Alice Cooper is not the answer for WrestleMania 2.
Well,
The answer,
Ozzy would
I
make more
believe, is
sense.
Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
Jonathan Darwin saying Cooper was WrestleMania 3. Ryan Wilcox saying Alice Cooper. The correct answer is Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy Osbourne managed the British Bulldogs at WrestleMania 2. We'll hang in. We'll hang in for WWE for this last card here, and then we'll move on to something different. so we could mix it up for you folks in the trivia categories. But can you tell me who the first music group was to perform at a WrestleMania? First music
group?
Yeah, it says who was the first music group?
Cyndi Lauper doesn't count with the.
I'm not answering any of those questions, Rob. You're gonna have to figure it out, and no Googling. I'm watching you, Jonathan Darwin. No Google. Ricky Dada. Rob's checking out Brian Solomon's Pro Wrestling FAQ. James Lawrence says Motorhead. I don't know where Front Row is, but he's probably off on his Google machine. Terry says Cyndi Lauper.
Well, you said group, which is throwing me off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I did say that.
What about can we say the Cyndi Lauper in the gang, or the Cyndi Lauper band?
What makes me feel good about this is that you guys are answering a lot of the same ways I did when I didn't get my kiss. So the actual answer is I'm seeing a lot of no ideas. Front Row says Limp Bizkit. It was the first ever WrestleMania. It was actually Run DMC was the first music group to perform at a WrestleMania. So, I mean, Cyndi Lauper was at the first WrestleMania. I don't know if she performed, and but maybe they're going with a group. Rob is activated the This Is Pro Wrestling social media, and he's guessing One Direction. I see that in the chat. All right. How about this? Which superstar competed in his first Money in the Bank ladder match at 57 years old? Which superstar competed as their first Money in the Bank at 57? Jacob Bieber. Good one. Jennifer Horn in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. There we are. Lovely couple in the picture. She says, I should have known that. I gave you that question. She read these.
Great picture. The chick's hot. The guy looks homely.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm seeing Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat, Jerry Lawler.
13-3, by the way, guys. 13-3.
Okay.
First Money in the Bank ladder match. 57 years old. Who was the wrestler? We got some answers in here. Ricky Dada agrees with Jerry Lawler. Front Row says Ricky Steamboat. Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Seeing that. All right, Robin Will, you're going to have to guess. The chat's all over the place. Who you thinking?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Lawler. I think that makes sense.
I'm going to say Wahoo McDaniels.
Yeah. Dr. Red saying Dusty Rhodes. This makes sense. The correct answer is Ric Flair. Ric Flair competed in his first Money in the Bank ladder match at 57 years old. Dr. Red with Jake Roberts, too. That one took me off guard. But anyway.
Yeah, that's wild.
All right. So this past week on NWA Wrestling, we saw the debut of Power Surge. And if you were paying attention to social media, Nick Aldis tweeted out about Power Surge. If you're a fan of primetime wrestling, that's kind of the vibe that we're going for. Speaking of primetime wrestling, do you know who hosted the first episode of Primetime Wrestling? Who were the hosts of Primetime Wrestling?
Oh, Vince McMahon. No. Bobby Heenan. The first one?
It says, who hosted the first episode?
I'm just spitballing. I feel like Vince was one of the hosts. Vince and Gorilla.
You're doing a great job, Gorilla.
We'll see what the chat says.
I feel like Rob's saying something, but he's muted.
Yeah. Which is
Sorry,
fun.
my bad. I would say I'd probably say like Gorilla and Vince also.
Interesting. Terry says Vincent Bruno. Ricky Donna says Heenan and Monsoon. Damian Redmond says Lord Alfred Hayes.
Could be him.
The correct answer is actually, I don't even know who the first guy is. So, Rob, you might be able to educate me here, but Jack Reynolds is one of them. And Jesse Ventura.
Governor Ventura.
Yeah, they hosted the first episode of Primetime Wrestling. Front Row says Alyssa Marino and Todd Kennelly, but that is incorrect. But we would take it. James Lawrence had said Vince and Jesse.
I've got to show you guys.
James Lawrence got it closest.
Pick this up. Check that out, man. This is WWE Masters of the Universe.
Nice.
Roddy Piper Evil Hot Rod figure I picked up yesterday. How cool is that?
That is cool. I do like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I was giving the solo layout for you, but I was trying to give you that.
Go ahead. Let me get it again.
The communication on this show is impeccable.
Looks like you got like a hold on, let me adjust my
It looks like he's got a skin disease.
Got a little looks like a little comic got a little comic book or something in the back. And then you got his hot rod shirt, got his little loincloth, his little Scottish Tom Latimer loincloth there. And then it's pretty cool. I saw this, I had to have it. It's over there by the bar in the studio. In the studios of Piper's Notes.
All right. Well, the final question on this card, and we'll move on to something different for a minute. Who challenged Hulk Hogan for the WWE Championship in the very first Saturday night's main event? Who challenged Hulk Hogan for the WWE Championship in the very first ever Saturday night's main event?
Big Boss Man.
Love Ryder Romano. Very cool, Rob. You picked that up after eating your $75 lobster.
Got him. Yeah, he eats his lobster and then they go toy
The lobster,
shopping.
yeah. The lobster wasn't $75. That was like a $130. The whiskey tasting we went to today was $75.
All right. So I'm seeing all kinds of names here. I love this. All right. Don Morocco from James Lawrence said, we got Terry McDermott saying Orndorff. We got Ryan saying King Kong Bundy, Ricky Donna, Andre the Giant. We got another Orndorff, a Bad News Brown, a King Kong Bundy, another King Kong Bundy, Andre. We got a Bob Orton from This Is Pro Wrestling. Who put that in there?
Not me.
It must have been Dr. Rob Stinson. I only ask because that's actually the correct answer. The first ever challenger to Hulk Hogan for the WWE Championship on Saturday night's main event was Cowboy Bob Orton Sr. So the daddy of Randy Orton. All right, so some of you folks are going to appreciate more of this now. Let's throw to – here we go. Are you ready? Name that tag team is this game. This is for Will. But
I'm here.
Who were the members of the American Males who wrestled together from 1995 to 1996?
You couldn't get any more obscure.
Hold on. I'm putting my answer in right now. Hold on. Bagwell and Riggs. That would be not Buff, but Marcus Alexander Bagwell and Scotty Riggs. Can I answer? I'm sorry.
You can. You can also down at the bottom there. You can take off that all so it doesn't post for us 3 times. What's on? Well, I guess you shouldn't. You should leave it.
I'm going to post all of it. I'm going to post everything.
But you weren't the first. Damian Redmond actually jumped in with Riggs and Bagwell there.
Yeah, but I was the first to say Marcus Alexander Bagwell. and Scotty Riggs, and I can sing the theme song. American males, American males, American males, American males, American males, American.
Oh man.
All right. Well, who were the members of? Well, by the way, Rob is right. Although I appreciate Jonathan Darwin throwing in there Rob Stinson and Gary Horde.
That would never work.
It would never work.
That'd be the worst tag team ever.
Let's see here. Who are the members of the Colossal Connection?
Tripping, man.
Yeah, you jealous. Come on now. We'd be all right. We wouldn't agree on everything, but Kratos and Stevens don't agree on everything, you know? So it's all right.
We'll see how that works out.
Who are the members of the Colossal Connection who wrestled together from 89 to 90? Was it? I have multiple choice, or do you guys not want the multiple choice? Andre and Haku, says Rob. And so does Terry. Ricky Donna doesn't remember that. Damian says Haku and Andre. James Lawrence says Andre and Haku. You're all right. Yes, it is Andre and Haku. That was the Colossal Connection. All right. Wow, you guys are doing great.
Here's one. Who were the members? Let me ask one.
Okay.
Who are the members of? Who are? No wrong answers here. I want to know all the members of the True Fabulous Freebirds.
Oh my God! Yeah, there are wrong answers.
Yeah, I mean,
no wrong answers.
It's Michael P.S. Hayes and Terry Bam Bam Gordy. I mean, that's the actual Freebirds.
That's not what the official This Is Pro Wrestling page says.
Do you know, for the commercial we're working on, I tried to find that clip of you getting frustrated about that.
James Lawrence, he knows. James Lawrence knows.
Yeah, well,
Rob trying to politicize trivia to get his agenda over.
Ricky Donna says it's just Michael Hayes, Terry Gordy, and Buddy Roberts. I thought it had Jimmy Garvin.
They might have talking about Terry.
Dr. Red says it was only Buddy Roberts. And wait, you effed me. Dr. Red happens to know Haku, by the way. He spoke to him about the Colossal Connection. So we have confirmation. So stop doubting me there.
I'm just giving you a hard time, Terry McDermott. I know what you meant, man.
Terry,
you know we love you, bro. He said, the gorgeous one himself, gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. We were at where were we at? We were at, we were at the high school. We had a high school doubleheader the other night. Ridgeland versus Northwest Whitfield baseball doubleheader, and like every inning change they played Sharp Dressed Man. And I was telling my buddy Travis Allison, who's a big Braves fan too. I was telling him, man, this is gorgeous Jimmy Garvin's theme song, man. One of the true Freebirds, the true Freebird. Screw Whitman Gary.
Ricky Donna remembers Terrence Garvin in World Class. He was Terry Garvin in Global Wrestling Federation. So yeah, I hear you, Jonathan Darwin. If you had held out for just another minute, but since you said it, let's throw it in there. The more obscure tag team. Who is the Can-Am Connection? Who are they?
Oh, hold on, I got this.
Don't be Googling.
You can answer out loud. You can answer out loud, Rob.
You don't have to type it in. Yeah, you're part of the show.
I want to, though. I want to type it in. Well. It makes me feel like more part of the show, more part of the more part of the community.
How does it make you feel more? Okay, yeah, I get that. Okay.
James Lawrence says it was Rick Martel and Tom Zito.
Oh,
Martel and
TZ.
Zeke. See, you're slow when you do that, Rob, because Damian Redmond beats you every time. He's already on it. Rick Martel and Tom Zeke says this is pro wrestling. This is bull. James Lawrence, I'm just picking on you, buddy. I know your phone's on
Man, I hate
correcting
this
or
game.
something. Why do you hate this game? The correct
You're
answer.
doing well. You're doing good.
So
At it, Rob. You're good.
It
This
is.
hard to type.
It is.
I
Tito
can't get my
Santana
junk in
and
on
Rick
time, man.
Martel. Tito Santana, Rick Martel, the Can-Am connection. I'm just kidding. No, it's Rick Martel and Tom Zeke. What was Tito Santana, Rick Martel? Strike Force. Were they Strike Force? I think that's who those guys were. Oh, sorry, Dr. Red. Dr. Red was first. Reed. He said.
Reed. I love that. Yeah, Gary.
He's so angry.
Dumbass.
Ugh. Well, there's a question here about who was Harlem Heat, but I feel like that's real easy. But feel free to jump in if you know who Harlem Heat was. Front row, Dr. Reed Tyler.
I love it. We should do some. We should do NWA fam trivia.
Oh man, like who are members of the NWA fam?
Yeah. Who?
Who's the dumbass now? Dr. Red.
We got some beef going down.
Oh, come on. Rod Simmons and Butch Reed says James Lawrence. Harlem Heat, James Lawrence.
Yeah, a little confused. It's all right. It's late.
That was gonna. That,
Harlem Heat.
that was actually gonna be a question
That's
later.
great, man.
Oh, he said he's
Oh,
kidding.
that's the funniest
He's
thing. I wish you wasn't kidding, man. Woo!
kidding. Oh, all right. Let's throw to Ricky
That's
Donna
funny
here. He
among,
said,
man.
"Wait, all right. So it's Booker T and Stevie Ray. We'll give it to Dr. Red since he's the first person who actually got it."
Let me mute myself. Hold on, man.
How are you doing that?
What? What is this problem?
Did you see that? It was like muted for a second, but you could still hear him. That was wild.
Jonathan Darwin
Oh.
says Stevie and Booker T. He wants bonus points to know that Simmons and Reed were doomed. So there you go.
You don't just get to make your own question. Hey, and Scooby asked this, but wasn't there a third member?
Of what? Harlem Heat?
Harlem Heat? Yeah.
Oh, you know what? There was a point
They
where,
were a faction at one point.
well, I remember with Stevie Ray, they were feuding with Stevie Ray, I think, and there was another guy. I want to say it was the former Ahmed Johnson, but he was under another name. Let's see. I'm going to Google
I
it.
just remember that. I just remember that vaguely. And then when Scooby said it, I wasn't going to say anything because I was like, man, I'm probably just, I've seen so much wrestling. It's just all flowing together. But yeah, so
Big
chat
T.
confirming.
Big T. You're
Yeah.
right, Dave Scooby. It was
Yeah,
Big T,
I remember
Ahmed
that.
Johnson.
I remember that.
And the Ebony Experience was Harlem Heat. I did not know that.
So speaking of Doom,
Oh, they were feuding,
who?
side note, over the T. Because Booker T was Booker T, and then Big T wanted to have the T, and then they had a lawsuit. They were feuding over who got to have the T. Go ahead, Rob. You look so offended.
I was just going to ask. Do you remember who defeated Doom, forcing them to unmask?
I do.
No,
That was
no,
the
not
Steiner
you,
brothers.
Will.
Oh,
no,
well,
not you, Will.
I mean, you can't ask me. Okay, sorry.
I'm not asking you. I'm asking the community.
Okay.
Whatever.
So you got to clarify.
Will wants to
can't
jump
just
in on
ask.
the tag team trivia.
If you want to answer, put it in the chat.
No, I don't play that way.
Lawrence says Steiner brothers. So does Ricky Donna and Damian Redmond. They all say the Steiners.
Well,
Runners on first and second with 2 outs. Pablo Sandoval at the bat.
What is he talking? Rob.
13-3.
you
Sorry.
really said-
Terry
Sorry,
Minerva
Joe.
says he fell asleep during that match.
He actually says he fell asleep.
Well,
Yeah,
okay.
he didn't say he fell asleep. What he said.
Rick
Here's
and
what he
Scott
said,
Steiner
bro.
says Dr.
Rob,
Was it
Rob,
the
are you
Steiner?
gonna-
Are you going to tell us the answer? You're going to focus and tell us the answer? If you're going to ask the questions?
The answer is the Steiners, man.
Oh,
We'll-
God, yeah, it's crazy.
All right. Let's give Ryan
Woo!
Wilcox some
All right.
time here. He's asking, what tag team formed in the Florida in the NWA and went into WWF to win the tag titles from Adrian Adonis and Dick Murdoch? Part 2, who'd they lose the titles to? Tag team formed in Florida, NWA, went to WWF, beat Adrian
Rob's
Adonis and Dick
typing.
Murdoch.
Top end, I know this.
Yeah, he's got it in the chat.
Terry, don't worry about him. He knows what you meant.
We're just having a good time here.
What I do?
Wyndham and Rotunda, says James Lawrence.
Mhm.
Damn it! I
Rob, how
got
long
my
is it taking
junkie
you to
in.
type? God.
It's not
There he is.
taking me. I got it in. It's just taking forever to send.
Well, why are you typing it in?
Hold on.
You don't have to type it in.
But
Rob
that's
makes
we're
up his
trying to
own
give
rules.
everybody a chance.
Well, y'all missed part B.
My door. I think my metal door is causing a delay on my freaking connection because every time, whatever, man, it's bullshit.
Who did they lose the titles to? Who did they lose the titles to? That's the next question.
It's coming. It's coming.
Oh,
Boom.
All
There
right.
it is.
Iron Sheik and Volkov.
Let's
I
see.
hope
Nikolai
Ryan's still in the
Volkov.
chat because we can't Google. So Ryan Wilcox, I hope you're with us. David Redmond says Dream Team. Yeah, people are. That was one of the questions, by the way, James Lawrence, is who is the Dream Team? So that's done. That was my next
That's
one.
the question.
Well, it's over now. James
Is that a
Lawrence already
question?
said. No, James Lawrence said they lost the belts to the Dream Team, Brutus Beefcake and Greg
They didn't.
Valentine.
They did not.
But
They did.
he-
Eventually, they got it back. But they lost it to Volkov and Iron Sheik first.
Wait, wow.
And
Ryan
the-
Wilcox
and
says
the-
Rob
and the-
is correct. Ryan Wilcox is
I am
confirmed.
correct. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan.
Oh, great.
Beefcake
right.
and Valentine are the dream team.
Who were the Allied Powers? Wrestled in 95. The Allied Powers. Stop Googling, Rob.
I'm not. I'm typing in the thing.
Damien still
Gosh,
beat
man,
you,
why
though.
does it take so
Damien
freaking
beats you
long,
every time.
Damn, y'all see me typing. Y'all see me
I
typing.
know,
Wait,
man. But
wait
this is
before
how.
that
But
came
this
in.
is no. This is how Rob types.
My
That's
dad,
how Rob types.
my dad
because
calls
I'm
that.
blind.
Because
I'm
he'll
half
tilt his
blind,
glasses
bro.
down. Yeah,
When
yeah,
you're
he has to
doing
tilt
that,
his glasses
I'm like-
down.
My dad's like,
He's just
you're
like,
one of those prostitute typists.
like-
is what he says. You're one of those prostitute typists. And you say, like, what are you talking about? He says, you're hunting peckers. You know?
oh my god.
That's my dad joke.
That
I
is
didn't
the
get nothing
eeriest
out of
dad
Rob
joke
out
if
of
I've
that.
ever heard one.
Yeah.
He makes that same joke.
Does anybody know who the Rockers were?
That was
question? Is that an official question?
Triple H,
It's
Shawn
not
Michaels,
an
and Triple
official-
H.
Shawn Michaels and Triple H is
And
correct,
Ricky Morton. And Ricky
yeah.
Morton.
Ricky Morton. All right, we'll do this one as an
They were
official
managed
question.
by
though.
Alice Cooper.
What about Rhythm and Blues? Who are the members of Rhythm and Blues?
Ooh.
What year?
Rhythm and Blues.
Or you just
Yeah, what year? Give me a year.
Close the tab. 88 to 91. Who are the
That
members
would
of Rhythm and
be-
Blues
I
who
got it.
wrestled together from 88 to 91? You're already too late. You lost out to Damian Redmond again.
Yeah, I was gonna say
It's-
Honky Tonk Man, but I didn't know Valentine.
Scooby's in there. Red's in there. James Lawrence is in there. Honky Tonk Man and Greg the Hammer Valentine is the answer.
And then finally Rob. There it is.
And then finally Rob shows up. Oh, all right. All right. All right. We'll do a you want to do a I'm sorry, WWLTD. You also had that right at like the same time as Damian Redmond. So correct. All right, let's do some stable questions. You guys ready? You want to keep going?
Ooh, yeah, let's roll.
Which of these people has never been a member of the Four Horsemen?
Oh, I got this. Hold on. I got it.
All right, I'm going to wait
Boom.
for Rob to answer this. More impressive to name the person from this list. But anyway, so I figured this would
Okay,
be
go
easy.
ahead.
But here we go. Sting, Bobby Eaton, Paul Roma, Kurt Hennig. Dr. Red says Sting. This is Pro Wrestling says Eaton.
Eating what? You can't say eating Henny.
Boom. Eaton. It is Bobby Eaton. Everybody chiming in now. WWLTD says Eaton and Hennig, but Hennig was a member
Hennig-
of the Four Horsemen.
For about a week or two, he was, yeah. And I hate it, but he was. Hey, what
I
is
think
that?
he
Is
would've-
that 100? Is that Evan Williams you sipping on there, Gary? That 100 proof? Is that white label?
That's a Mick Ultra. You can
Oh,
almost
I was about to
see
say that.
through it.
Look. That's a,
I hadn't drank beer
and
in-
look how dark.
I hadn't drank anything in like a week, and I busted it out for today.
He has
Tried
to
to-
drink when he talks to us, Rob.
Yeah.
I know.
All right. Let's see here. Which
Just a reminder. This is just a reminder. This is a family show. This is a family show.
Dr.
Yeah,
Red
can't
tried
say
to tell
Lex
you.
Luger.
Yeah, Ricky Donna said he hated that hitting turn on the Horseman. I thought he would make a good member of the Horseman. Did you not? Like I thought he fit in.
Gosh,
But-
he seemed like a natural. I always felt like
Almost
Malenko and Benoit would be great horsemen, and then Hennig would. What I hated most about that, it's not the heel turn because it was kind of part of it was like, hey, that's sweet revenge. They've been doing that to people for years now. Finally, the NWO did that to them. Well, I did not appreciate them cutting the arms off of Flair's robe. I thought that was highly disrespectful. And if you listen to some of the interviews and stuff, like Flair did too, that wasn't part of any kind of like booking backstage or shot calling. I mean, Flair took offense at it as he should have. You don't disrespect Flair's robes.
Which ECW stable included members such as What is Rob? What are you doing? Rob's waving his hands around. If you're listening at home, Rob's waving his hands around like something smelly. Which ECW stable included members such as Chris Benoit, Bam Bam Bigelow, and Shane Douglas? I have multiple choice here if you want those.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have multiple choice.
The multiple choice options are, well, Rob's already jumped in on the chat.
What are you? You got a fly in there or something?
Either way, Rob always behind.
It's
Damian
like the
Redmond.
doggone.
Damian Redmond always in first there. Just whipping Doc's ass.
That's amazing.
Where did Doc go? But James Lawrence got in there too, and Ricky Donna. It is the triple threat. Triple threat is the answer to that question. That was the stable. I mean, right? Like it was Chris Benoit, Bam Bam Bigelow, and Shane Douglas. Let's see here. The $1 Million Corporation was set up by the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase in 1994, along with Bam Bam Bigelow, who was the first member of this corporation.
No, that's not what I meant to say.
It's too late.
Virgil. Ricky Donna says Chris Benoit wasn't in Triple Threat. Is that?
Huh. I don't know.
No, he was. Yeah, Benoit was in Triple Threat.
Yeah, on Wikipedia it says 95 to 98. It was Shane Douglas's answer to Ric Flair's Four Horsemen.
Benoit was one of the founders of Triple Threat.
The original
Malenko,
Triple Threat
Douglas
consisted of Shane Douglas, Chris Benoit, and Dean Malenko.
Yeah.
There was a second incarnation of the Triple Threat, which was Bam Bam Bigelow and Chris Candido.
Mm-hmm.
And then later, there was a new Triple Threat, which was Rob Van Dam, Sabu, and Taz.
Hey, I got a trivia question for y'all.
Well, we're still in the middle of a triple. We're in the middle of a Triple Threat.
But this was better.
A trivia question.
Better,
right
man.
No, we're in the middle of
better.
Hold on. Let's get an answer to this. $1 Million Corporation was set up by the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase in 94, along with Bam Bam Bigelow, who is the first member of this corporation. Not one person has given the answer to this question.
I can't remember it, man. I can't remember it.
The answer, this is the only one we haven't had an answer to. Erwin R. Shyster, IRS, is a great answer.
Lots of people have been saying that, man.
Dude, people have been saying that in the chat the whole time, dude.
Yeah.
Maybe if y'all chill the F out for a second, let me finish my damn sentence.
Okay, sorry.
But you saying no one has said it, and then
I said a lot of people have said Erwin R. Shyster, IRS, and then I was still in the middle of the sentence, and you guys started jumping in.
Listen, we only half listened to you, Gary.
But it is not the correct answer. That was the other part of that sentence. It's a good answer because he was in that stable.
You know what, Gary?
Nikolai Volkov.
You might have gotten
Nikolai Volkov and Bam Bam Bigelow were the first members of the $1 Million Corporation.
Wow. Okay.
That was a stupid question. I got a question for you. I got a question for y'all. That's slightly wrestling related.
Oh boy, what's the Brave score?
Scooby wins. Volkov.
Oh, there it is.
All right, now ask your stupid question, Rob.
First of all, stupid. Ask it, Rob. It's okay, Rob. Your question is not stupid. Right. Ask it.
My question is this: the band Spinal Tap, and there is a connection here to wrestling, but the band Spinal Tap, what was their original name before they were Spinal Tap when they first founded? According to the documentary, I know you know that. You got to know this, Gary. You got Shinema Schlong the movie podcast. I know you know the
Cinema.
look at him
does this
Googling.
have to
He's Googling
do-
right now.
I love
No,
that he
what
went
is-
Because it
from,
was
like,
written
listen,
by Rob
went-
Reiner.
Listen, Rob went from
Because it's written
he
by
went
Rob
from,
Reiner,
like,
right?
the biggest fan of your
And
podcast,
Rob Reiner
your
was
movie
friends
podcast,
with
to like the biggest troll now. Since you changed the name of your podcast, he does not accept it. It blows my
I'm
mind.
constantly-
psychotronic, bro. I'm psychotronic till I die, baby. In fact, I'm about to start a podcast called Psychotronic Film Society.
You can. It's available.
We'll call it the original Psychotronic Film Society.
Ooh.
TOPS. Tops. And we're gonna hand out baseball cards. The original name of Spinal Tap without Googling like you're doing right. Look, I see your eyes. I see your eyes, Gary.
Dude, my hands are like right here. It's something like the new, or it's
Nope.
It's,
World.
They were the Timsmen, like Dr. Red said, and then they changed their name to the Originals. And then they found out that there was already a band called the Originals.
oh,
and so they
there's the
changed their
new
name to the New
original.
Originals. and then the the Originals this band. And so they went back to being the Originals. But the original name was the Timsmen.
All right. What's the wrestling
and
connection?
and you know why the wrestling connection is that Spinal Tap was written by Rob Reiner, and Rob Reiner was a close friend of Andre the Giant.
Ah.
So he tells a
Hey,
story.
can you
There's
call-
that. Have y'all seen the Andre documentary where he talks about how Andre the Giant's farts would like shake the whole bus and stuff, and it would sound like real guttural, like. Anyway, Gary talking about he got a movie podcast.
Sorry, missed out on that, Rob. Let's see. The
Your poll numbers
here's
is
another-
dropping, Gary. Your poll numbers is down tonight.
The Varsity Club was formed in the NWA
Got it.
in
Got it.
1987.
Kevin Sullivan, Mike Rotunda, and Dr. Nesty Williams. Later, Rick Steiner.
I was about to say now, if I could finish
What
the
next?
question. The whole
Varsity
question
Club
was they
was
were formed
beaten
in
by-
87, reformed in 99, and which
He's
three
from Oklahoma.
stars-
He's from
are,
Oklahoma.
it was
Sooners.
who were the reformed
Baker
Varsity
Mayfield.
Club.
Was the quarterback of Oklahoma.
Yeah. You got them all right. You got them all, Rob.
Maker Bayfield.
Oh my god.
It's getting late.
Yeah, we're starting to get
Oh,
there.
we just get warmed up. Hold on. We just get warmed up, man. We in it now.
All right, here's a good one. How about the NWO? Is one of the most famous tables in pro wrestling history. Which of these people has never been a member of the NWO?
Okay.
Dusty Rhodes, Louis Spicolli, the Great Muta, Ming.
Oh, Ming. It's Ming. It's Ming. It's Ming. Ming feuded with. Not Muda, Ming.
Autocorrect.
Powers of pain.
Autocorrect.
Powers of Pain feuded with the NWO.
Well, all right. So everybody's jumping in with Ming, so that's correct. All
We
right.
haven't landed on the spelling. Is it I or E?
They have it here as
It's
M-E.
it's E. Yeah, it's E.
It
In
is
fact,
Ming.
on evidently on our Twitter one, like they didn't like that I said Ming, and they like said that they filtered anything that looks like spam. So, dang it, front row. Dang.
That's a technicality. He is the official of this bout.
Ricky Donna asking a question. Does anyone remember the first stable that Mick Foley and Undertaker were a part of?
Rock and Sock Connection.
That has to be corporate ministry, right? That has to. I don't know. That feels right.
Rob left. So
My
Haku, says Dr. Red. If you don't know, who's the dumbass now?
Can you please title this episode on the podcast feed? Who's the dumbass now? Trivia night.
Which of the following
I'm taking my second bathroom break, but I'm listening.
Which of the following has never been a member of the Dudley family?
Ooh, this is gonna be a hard one.
Is it Big Dick Dudley, Snot Dudley, Stacy Keebler, Chubby Dudley?
I don't know,
Spike
man.
Dudley, Devon Dudley, Bubba Ray Dudley. Who's the?
Did you say Chubby? Chubby? I'm gonna put Chubby. I never heard of that guy.
Well, you don't have to type it. Damian Redmond's already typed it in. So always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Dr. Red also
he didn't punctuate correct. He didn't punctuate correctly though. You got Damian, got to have correct punctuation and capitalization.
The correct answer was Chubby Dudley. No, wait. Yeah. I'm sorry. Chubby Dudley was in there, it looks like. Stacy Keebler is actually the correct answer. It says that Stacy Keebler was a manager of the Dudley Boys in WWF and WWE.
No. That doesn't no. If she managed, she was in.
It said Stacy's nickname whilst managing the Dudley Boys was the Duchess of Dudleyville, but she was never.
Throw that out. Throw that question
out. He says no. All right. Okay. James Lawrence with the fun trivia. Big Dick Dudley wore an eye patch and was referred to as Big Dick Dudley, the one-eyed giant. I love that.
Big Doc or Big Duck?
Well, autocorrect. Just suck it up, Rob. The Dungeon of Doom was founded to eradicate WCW of Hulkamania in 1995, and it ran for over 2 years. Which of the following members of the Dungeon of Doom won the WCW World Television Championship whilst a member of the stable? You thought that question was going to start off easy. I see Rob's face, but it got a little more complicated. Who won the television championship while a member of the Dungeon of Doom? Was it? What's the matter, Rob?
You said World Championship.
No, I said the WCW World Television Championship.
Television.
You don't listen. You try to jump in. He took himself out of the chat. All right.
Can we just appreciate this?
But y'all still gonna be hearing me. Y'all still gonna be hearing me.
We'd rather just see you because you're so pretty. Let's just appreciate this comment out of context.
Big dick, stupid fingers.
That's what she
James
said.
Lawrence. That should be Giants. James Lawrence, that should be your bio on all your social media. You need to start an Instagram account right now, a Twitter account. You got to get on there. Big dick, stupid fingers.
BDSF.
Anyway, your options for who won the TV championship whilst a member of the stable Dungeon of Doom are Big Van Vader, Conan, Lex Luger, and the Giant. Apparently, all of them were members of the Dungeon of Doom, and I did not know that. But there you go. Dr. Red says, who's the dumbass now?
There it is.
Damian Redmond says Conan, and he is correct. Damian Redmond, you are
champion of the night.
You are becoming the champion of the night. It is true. All right. What? I don't care. All right. I got like another 10 questions, and you guys can decide. If we
Kimber looking like
there.
Kenny G, man.
How was Sunshine related to gorgeous Jimmy Garvin? Look at that. I'm going into old school questions for you a-holes.
There you go. Rob's got it.
Former manager / wife, says Rob.
Well,
wife, valet, wife. Here's the official answer they give here. They say Sunshine was Jimmy's first valet. The team worked together in WCCW and feuded with the Von Erich family. Jimmy's main nemesis were David Von Erich, or nemesis was David Von Erich. They really went wild on that sentence. David had on one occasion spanked Sunshine in the middle of the ring because of her constant interference in matches. That. Jimmy also lost a bout to David. Jimmy also lost a bout to David in which Sunshine and Jimmy had to be David's servants for a day. Jimmy replaced Sunshine with his wife, Precious. It was noted that Sunshine was replaced because she was causing trouble in her cousin's marriage to Precious. So the correct answer, actually, how was Sunshine related to gorgeous Jimmy Garvin? She was his cousin.
Interesting.
All right. Where was Mr. Fuji born? Oh, I see. Yeah, Rob. Yeah, I get it. L.A.
What?
Rob, why can't you talk? Why do you feel the need to type? I don't understand. Oh, God. Are we losing people? Because Rob just wants to type. Samoa, says Damian. Singapore, says James Lawrence. Patrick Griffiths in the house with the correct answer, Hawaii.
Oh, really? What?
Mr. Fuji was born in Hawaii
born in LA.
1935. He is Japanese American by birth. Dr. Red, throw it in Honolulu. But yeah, Hawaii was
a little more specific.
The correct answer. What former manager coined the phrase pencil neck geek? Waiting on an answer.
I just like waiting to see Rob's answer in the chat.
I know. I feel like Rob should wait like 10, 20 seconds, then type in his answer. But he keeps losing to Damian Redmond anyway. So.
Yeah, he still doesn't get it.
Yep, Damian Redmond with the first answer. Classy Freddie Blassie is the correct answer. And Terry McDermott with Freddie.
You gotta
Ricky Donna.
And then Rob.
It doesn't count if
then Rob.
Weight properly.
Congratulations, Rob. You got 5th, 6th place, 7th place also. The next question is, who led Buddy Landell to the national heavyweight title in a victory over Terry Taylor?
Oh.
Damian Redmond first in here with James J. Dillon. Just kidding. Just kidding. Rob's about to lose it. He's at a flip over his whole desk. He's like, come on, man. It was Buddy had acquired James J. Dillon as his manager. At Starrcade 85, he led Buddy to a victory over Terry Taylor in North Kakalaki. All right, next question. What team did Sherry Martel guide to the AWA World Tag Team Championship? This is a good one. This is deep. This is a deep pool. This is for legit wrestling fans right here. This is hardcore history for wrestling.
What was the year?
Let's see here. It does not give me a year. But Patrick Griffiths got it. Are you cheating, Patrick Griffiths?
Buddy Rose and Doug Summers?
Yep, that is correct.
He's too fast. He's not cheating. That's too fast. If he's cheating, he's got some fast Google skills.
It is. It says Sherry started her career as a wrestler under the management of Jim Cornette. Due to an injury she sustained during a match, Sherry was temporarily out of action. She moved to the AWA, where she captured the AWA World Women's Championship from Candy Divine. She continued to manage and defend her title. Sherry held the title 3 times before she vacated it. She led the team of Playboy Buddy Rose and Pretty Boy Doug Summers to a World Tag Title victory over Kurt Hennig and Scott Hall. The team held the titles until they lost them to Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, then known collectively as the Midnight Rockers. Sherry left the AWA for the WWF in the late 80s. Yeah, anyway. That's all just a bunch of history. Tammy Lynn Sitch was a very successful diva. She led Zip, along with his partner Skip, to the WWF World Tag Team Championship. What is Skip's real name? It is not Sonny, Rob. I'm sorry. You lose. It is also not Bonnie Donis. You lose again. Rob, 2 wrong answers is all we can have. It is not Tom Pritchard, Ricky Donna.
No, this is relevant to the NWA.
James Lawrence wins. It is Chris Candido.
Bull crap! Bull crap! No,
Chris Candido is the correct answer. That's what I'm talking about. You'll wait.
Former NWA World's Heavyweight Champion.
What manager defeated his own team to win the WWF Tag Team Championship? This is a tough one. I have multiple choice for any of these if you guys need them, but everybody's kind of just like jumping in there. Ricky Donna says Heenan. James Lawrence says Mr. Fuji. Rob says nothing for once. Terry says Mr. Fuji. I think we just thought of a fun game show, though. It's like Beat the Doc. Beat the Doc challenge.
So Damian Redmond doesn't get in there.
William Flagg. William Flagg, baby. Coming at you half-mast. No, it's not. The answer to this question for all of you cats and kittens, it's Rico. Rico is the answer. He was forced to team.
Rico, is that a person that exists?
He used to manage Chuck and Billy. You remember them?
Nope. I have no clue. What?
Chuck.
You're just saying names.
Chuck Palumbo and Billy.
That must have
Gunn.
been when I was. I know
You
who Chuck
remember
and Billy
them?
are, but I'm just saying that's probably when I was deployed or something.
And Rico was their manager, his stylist. All right. Well, I mean, you can use whatever.
Oh, here you
excuse
go.
want.
I got one for you. I got one for you, but I'm going to put it in the chat. You have to read it in the chat.
Oh my god!
What was the name of Rick the Model Martell's fragrance?
You have to read it in the chat.
Even though he said it out loud.
And I'm going to answer it. And I'm going to
arrogant.
answer it.
That's
It's
not how that
arrogance.
works.
I already got it. It's arrogance. I win.
I got it in first, though. Damn,
Nope.
Redmond's good, boy.
Yeah, Redmond beat you.
Redmond, good. That
So
joker-
did Patrick Griffiths. Rob, you got third in your old damn question.
I got like my junk is like my BPMs and my SROs on this junk, or what do you call them? SORs is weak over here in the country.
Technically, you got fourth place on your own question because I said the damn thing. But anyway, Miss Elizabeth was the wife and valet
Randy
to
Savage.
Randy Macho Man Savage. What other wrestler did she become romantically involved with?
Lex Luger.
Okay.
Well, thanks for not putting
Who
it in the
defeated
chat
Rick
this
Martel for the AWA title?
time. Rob's got his own game going on in the chat.
Rob, sorry. As we're getting to the end here, Rob started his own trivia game.
He's answering it before anyone
I
can
win.
even see it.
Who
You always
did
win your own game.
Martel defeat for the
Lex
AWA
Luger.
title?
Yeah, Lex Luger was the answer to the Elizabeth question.
That's it.
Did you answer your own question?
Yep, immediately.
I forgot I asked it. I thought you asked it.
You asked it again after you answered it, Rob.
No, I didn't. I
Stop
asked
it.
I asked a
That
different
peanut-
question.
Are you Whiskey Rob tonight? What is happening?
Yeah. One too many lobster tails.
Oh my!
Oh, here's
Lord.
one. Here's one. Hey, man, I got a great question.
Ask
I
it
got a
out
great
loud
question.
into the chat.
I'm going to ask it and type it. Who is the longest reigning Japanese NWA champ of all time? And I'm talking about cumulative days. That's a good one right there.
Is it?
Vivian Redmond's on it. Kojima.
It's not. It's a
Reed
good guess,
Dunn says-
but it's not.
Muda.
Nope. Don't even come at me with Shohei Baba. That joker had like
Oh, there it
17
is.
days. No, not Baba. I'll give you a hint. Boom. There you go, Patrick. This man also ended the long reign of Dan Severn. Ogawa. Man ended Dan Severn reign.
What wrestling organization did Diamond
NWA.
Dallas Page begin his management career with?
Management career? That'd be
Yeah. He was a manager for a team. Well, Rob did jump in on this one. Damian Redmond was right there. I'm gonna say that was the the SEO. David Redmond got in there a little bit ahead of time with AWA. You are correct. He managed. What team did he manage? Does anybody know what team he managed?
Yep. Paul Diamond and Pat Tanaka. Bad Company, if I remember correctly. Bad
is
Company till the day I die. That's how they'd come out. The Bad Company.
Yep, it was Bad Company. All right, final question of this list.
And of the
Ernie
night.
Roth. Ernie Roth managed under two different names. One was Abdullah Farouk. What was he better known as?
The Grand Wizard, right?
Yes,
Hold
that
on,
is correct.
sorry.
He was the Grand
Grand
Wizard.
Wizard.
Terry McDermott said, I am seeing answers before I hear the questions.
That's that YouTube delay.
Now, Grand Wizard, man. So our friend Brian Solomon is writing a book right now. Actually, he's written a book. It's coming out. It's on the Sheik, the original Sheik. And I was always thinking, dude, what a great follow-up if he wrote a book on the Grand Wizard. He's another one of like the great managers ever, you know, very mysterious, just ahead of his time. I would love to see a biography of the Grand Wizard.
All right. Well, we're winding down here. I mean, we're getting into the end of the evening. I mean, I've got another NWA trivia thing, 10 questions, if you guys want to do it.
Oh, dang. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. I was ready to go. Then you threw them magic words at me. The 3 magic words, NWA.
All right. We'll do it. We'll run through it real quick. Who was recognized as the first NWA World Heavyweight Champion?
Orville Brown.
Nick Aldis.
Correct.
Oh, sorry.
It's Orville Brown. Well, our upcoming history podcast is going to be talking about the NWA coming up this week, so you guys check that out when we get to it. Our newest episode's on wrestling slang. That's
Can I add?
out tomorrow.
Can I flesh this out for a second, man?
sure.
So, well, don't say it like that.
Oh, no.
So, one of the things that one of the cases that we always make is that the 10 pounds of gold is the lineal title. If history had taken a slightly different direction, and I don't want to make this sound bad, we could not argue that. We could not argue that the NWA title is the lineal title. As it happened, when the NWA was founded in 1948, when they crowned Orville Brown, remember Luthez held the lineal title already, not Orville Brown. Orville Brown had the Midwestern Wrestling Association Championship. And Luthez was a rival promoter. Now, let's say Orville Brown had gone on to have a long, illustrious career. Then you could really say that the NWA began in 1948. But tragedy struck, like it has many times in wrestling, with like Brian Pillman. The anniversary of his car accident was like 2 days ago. And then, of course, Magnum TA had that horrific car accident. But Orville Brown had a career-ending car accident just months after being named the first champion. And because that happened, Orville Brown never lost the championship. They renamed a new champion, and then they went with the lineal champion, Luthez. So the first NWA World Champion, Orville Brown, cannot claim to be the true lineal champion. And if he had stayed healthy, and I wish he had, but if he had, you could not claim that the NWA Championship was a lineal title. But because he was badly injured and his career ended, and they then passed the torch to Luthez, on the basis of that, we can make the claim that that title now is a lineal title. Kind of like how we say that everybody is a son of Adam, but they're also a son of Noah, because, humanity was reborn with Noah's Ark. The NWA was reborn with Luthez. So the second champion is the lineal champion, but not the first. Interesting bit of history there.
Well, up until 1982, the NWA was based out of what U.S. city?
Probably St. Louis, right?
That is
or
correct.
Somewhere in Iowa. Okay.
It was St. Louis. Yep. Just because president of the NWA from inception up until his retirement was Sam Muchnick. And he was the promoter who ran the Central States territory. This is all stuff we're going to be talking about this week, Will. Hope you're ready. How Patrick Griffiths also got that, by the way, in the chat. We'll say before Rob. How many times did Lou Thesz hold the NWA World Heavyweight Championship between 49 and his last match in 1990?
5 times or 4 times? Hold on, let me see. Lou Thesz. 1, 2, 3. Just the NWA title, right?
Yeah. The question is, how many times did Lou Thesz hold the NWA World Heavyweight title between 1949 and his last match in 1990?
Are you counting the association or are you just counting the alliance title?
We're going to go with James Lawrence's answer here that the correct answer is 3.
Whoa, hold on now. Hold on,
Terry
hold on,
saying
back
3.
up.
Whoa. Well, sorry.
No.
Well, I mean, you can pussyfoot around the answer, or you can just go all in like James
If
Lawrence.
you're
And
talking
he did
about
it, and he
the
got the right answer.
We talking about the National Wrestling Alliance 1948 title, right?
Here's what it says. Legend reports Lou as a 6-time NWA. Let me finish.
Yes.
Legend reports Lou as a 6-time NWA champ, but in fact, he only held the National Wrestling Alliance title 3 times from its creation. The other world titles he held were the American Wrestling Association title in 1937 to 1938, and the National Wrestling Association title, which he held 3 times between 1939 and 1949.
Right. So this is a tough question. This is a really tough question because when the NWA was founded, and they made a mistake by naming Orville Brown, but their purpose was to sort of clarify the championship picture. They should have named Lou Thesz the first champion. They didn't. They named Orville Brown because he was a darling of the Midwestern promotions, and Lou Thesz was at odds with them. So if you want to argue like the championship that they were trying to consolidate in 1948, how many times did Thesz hold that? It would be 6. It'd be 6 championships. If you want to say that, or 5 championships, how many times did he hold the previous? It was 5 or 6. But if
this is a good point, Damian Redmond says so. It's 4. So yeah, this does say Legend reports Lou is a 6-time champ, but he held the National Wrestling Alliance title 3 times. And it said the other world titles he held were the American Wrestling Association title.
I think one of those alliance association titles, though, when he got recognized as the NWA champion, it overlapped.
That 3rd time.
So it would be either 6 or 5. Either 6 or 5. You could make a case either way, or 7 if you count the AWA. But that AWA title is not the same AWA title that was from the 60s. That's a different AWA. So I would say 5 because one of those NWA titles overlaps with the Alliance title. I think 6 or I'd be comfortable at 6 or 5.
Yeah, Patrick.
Yeah, but I think
you said
I'm
NWA title reigns 3 Alliance, 3 Association equals 6.
I'm with you, Griffiths, but I think one of those association and alliance titles overlaps. I think that when Orville Brown was injured, I think they passed the title on to Thesz because he was the association champion. And so that championship is the same. It's like, does Ric Flair's first WCW championship and 7th NWA championship count as 2 separate titles? Most people don't count that because when he won actually his 8th title from Sting, that was the first WCW championship. We normally count that as 1 title, not 2, even though it was separate governing bodies. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's
this is the kind of stuff I love, man.
I know. I said this is going to be short. We got 10 questions. We'll just blast right through them.
Yeah. And as soon as you said that, I was like,
"Yeah, son of a bitch."
I texted my wife as soon as you said that. I said, I'm not going to be coming to bed tonight.
The bottom line is that the
That was
best
3
thing
of
the
10.
NWA ever did. The best thing the NWA ever did was pass that title on to Luthez after Orville Brown's tragic accident. That's the best thing they did, because what they did was they shored up that lineal claim. If Orville Brown had gone on, that you couldn't make. I mean, you had a lineal claim, but not the claim that goes back to Gotch and Hackenschmidt and William Flagg and so forth and so on.
All right. So the next question up, this has to be a multiple choice question, is the first title reign of Harley Race came between the tenures of which 2 great champions? Luthez and Gene Kiniski?
Nope.
Gene Kiniski and Dory Funk Jr.? Dory Funk Jr. and Jack Briscoe?
Yes.
Or Jack Briscoe and Terry Funk?
Funk and Briscoe. You know how I know that? Because Race ended the title reigns of both Funk brothers. Bam! I'm good at this game, boy. I'm good at this game.
Well,
not as good
everybody's
as-
saying Funk and Briscoe. James Lawrence, though, says Funk and Funk. Here's what it says. Dory Jr. won the title in 1969 from Gene Kiniski, and he held it through 1973 when he dropped it to
Gene
Harley
Kiniski,
Race.
by the way,
Let me finish.
we just celebrated the 11th anniversary of Gene Kiniski's passing this week.
Okay, fair enough. I'll let you have that one. So he won the title in 69 from Kiniski, held it through 73, dropped it to Harley Race. Terry Funk defeated Jack Briscoe in 1975 and held it until 1977 when he also dropped it to Harley Race. Although Jack Briscoe held the title on 2 occasions, Terry managed to win the NWA Junior Heavyweight title, but not the heavyweight title, is what it says. What?
You're reading too deep into it. The bottom line is,
Well, whatever this was, it says
it goes like this. Dory Funk lost at Briscoe.
it says the correct
And he lost
answer
it to
is
Baba a
he
couple
won
times.
it technically between Dory and Terry Funk, is what it says.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not right, though.
Yeah, it's a weird explanation. I don't know. All right, fine.
I got a question for you. I got a real quick NWA
Let me just
question
finish.
for you.
Can I just finish this list? Just for Will.
But
Will's
I'm
like
gonna forget
about to
mine.
fall over
I'm gonna forget
sideways
mine.
over there.
I'm about to pass out.
Ric Flair was stripped to the NWA World Heavyweight title on the 8th of September,
Sting.
1991. Why?
Because he signed with the WWF.
That's correct. It was the WWF. True or false? WWF was a member of the NWA.
True.
That's not what you just said.
True.
You got to stick with your first answer.
Twice. They were remembered twice. They were remembered, then they left when Buddy Rogers was champion, then they came back in the 70s.
You're correct. It
Right.
says Vince McMahon Sr.
correct.
was a member of the NWA from well before he formed the WWF in 1963. Consequently, WWF and WWF remained a member of the NWA until Vince Sr. sold the promotion of Vince Jr. in 1983. The upshot of this is that until 1983, WWF regarded itself as a regional title, with the NWA World title being the most important title. Let's see here. 1972, who saw a man who later gained fame in WWE win the NWA World Heavyweight title, only to have it taken away when the champion's father entered the ring after the match and attacked the referee, who changed the decision to a disqualification? Who was this unlucky wrestler?
1972?
That's what it says.
So that would be during the reign of Dory Funk Jr.
That is correct.
Say that question again now.
1972.
Someone beat him in 72?
1972 saw a man who later gained fame in the WWF win the NWA World Heavyweight title, only to have it taken away when the champion's father entered the ring after the match and attacked the referee, who changed the decision to a disqualification.
Would that be maybe Terry Funk? Was Terry Funk in the WWF? Yeah, he was. Terry Funk?
I'm going to do something different here because I left one word out. I didn't realize. No, it's just funny. I left one word out that might help you change your mind. I don't know. 1972 saw a man who later gained fame as a WWF commentator win the NWA World Heavyweight title, only to have it taken away when the champion's father entered the ring after the match and attacked the referee, who changed the decision to a disqualification.
The man's father? Would it be Randy Savage?
Well, the person beat the champion, but then the champion's father entered the ring. And it caused the referee to change it to a disqualification.
70, that'd be too early for one of the Von Erichs. That's a good question, man.
See, Al Hayes, Monsoon, Patrick Griffith just got the answer. It is Lord Alfred Hayes. Yeah.
Dang, that's good, boy. That's good. Patrick's a man.
Patrick Griffiths. Yeah, Damian Redmond. It has to be Hayes. It is. It's Lord Alfred Hayes beat Dory Funk Jr., and then Dory Funk Sr. ran in and attacked the referee. The referee changed the decision to a disqualification, and so no title change occurred. And the final question here. This is easy compared to that. After a hiatus, members of the NWA regrouped and held a tournament in 1994 to decide a new world heavyweight champion. Who won the tournament?
He's going to the chat.
Why are you even bringing this up, man? Are you talking about the Shane Douglas thing or the Chris Candido thing?
Oh, I don't even know the Chris Candido thing.
Because Shane Douglas won the tournament and then dumped it, and then like a month later they held another tournament and Chris Candido won it.
Yeah, it was Shane Douglas.
A lot of people don't recognize Douglas as a champion.
Yeah, it says
like the Shane Douglas tournament was in August, and the Candido tournament was like in October or something like that.
Yeah, it was Douglas is who they're looking for here. I guess
I got a question
after the hiatus.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Who was the only NWA World Champion never to have an officially commissioned NWA? And James Lawrence, you can't answer this. You're disqualified because I know you know it.
He says he's being trained by Shane Douglas, and he doesn't recognize his NWA reign.
Yeah. Patrick Griffiths, you can't answer this either. You probably know it. But the only NWA World Heavyweight Champion ever in history to not have a championship belt. to signify his championship.
Only NWA champion in history to not have a belt.
He was the champion, but at that time, the NWA did not have a belt signifying the title. And this is post 1948 now. I'm talking about in the modern era. There's only one.
I feel like you did a video on this, didn't you?
I did. That's why y'all need to be active on TikTok.
Front row says Ron Killings.
No, he had the 10 pounds. He had Sweet Charlotte.
Ricky Donna doesn't know. Come on, chat room. I know you're in there. I know there's people watching.
I know James Lawrence knows, and I know Patrick Griffiths knows. They know, but they were barred from answering.
Only NWA champion to not have a belt.
So Damian Redmond's got a good guess there. He says Luthez, and the belt that Luthez held actually he owned that first belt. It was his belt, but in his second championship reign, he had an NWA title. And there's Terry McDermott with the answer. Dick Hutton. Dick Hutton is known as the champion without a belt. When
I do remember your TikTok about this.
When Luthez retired or went into semi-retirement, the belt that he had was his top property, so he took it with him. The NWA had not yet commissioned a championship, and by the time that Dick Hutton's reign had ended and Pat O'Connor had taken over, he had never gotten the belt. They actually presented the belt to Pat O'Connor like 100 days into his reign, and guess who he was wrestling the night that they presented the belt to him? He was defending the championship against Dick Hutton. So to add insult to injury.
Well, that's a good one. Dick Hutton, the beltless champion.
Yeah, I saw you, McDermott. I gave you a shout out.
Yeah, I think they're just a little delayed from like when we're actually saying this. So like he thought we were going to ignore him, but yeah, no, we didn't ignore you. You got it. You got it, Terry. But yeah, anyway. All right. Well, this has been fun, guys. We got to wrap this thing up. It's 11 o'clock on a Sunday night. Some of us got to work tomorrow. I mean, I don't, but some of y'all do. And so I gotta close this thing out. Ricky Donna still wants to know who was not Dudley. So I don't know. Hold on. Let me see. It's not Dudley. Bro, hold on one sec. Just real quick, if I can. Here you go. Here's a whole section dedicated. No, that's Big Dick. But apparently there was.
Don't Google that.
like what's that other tab say up there?
Michael Deep. Ex-hamster. There's Snot Dudley right there. So Snot Dudley exists. Anyway, so he's a guy. And all right, well, that's it. Thanks so much for everybody for hanging out. You see our names, our Twitter handles, all that stuff. This has been our 3-hour live Sunday night episode that Will seems defeated by, but man, I offered other nights of the week for us to do this, and Will was
10 o'clock hits, and it's like I just expire after a day of potty training. I'm ready for some sleep. So,
well, make sure you tell your people about this. If you had fun, when we can do more trivia nights, you have to let us know though. Let us know what keeps you coming back. What you like. If you like trivia nights, we can do more of those. Like round tables about random topics, we can do more of those. Sunday nights are for hanging out with you guys. So tell us what makes you want to hang out.
You want to tell them the topic for next week? We already got one.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Oh, yeah,
we're actually
good point.
planning ahead now.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about championships and some of the obscure ones, championships of the past, championships we'd like to see return, just championships in general. So I think it'll be a fun night. I know you guys are all belt nerds and loving the championship talk. So we're gonna dive deep into that. So do your research over the next week, and we'll have a lively discussion next Sunday about it.
Yeah. Front row wants a karaoke night. We'll see. Rob makes every episode of karaoke night episode, though. I feel like Patrick Griffiths wants more trivia. We can definitely make that happen. Tell your people about him. Tell your friends, family, whoever's interested in wrestling who would like this. Make sure you share that and share on our tweets or all of our stuff so it helps get more people in here. Ricky Dada, tune in next week. We'll talk about 6-man tag team championships, I'm sure. And he has one last question, Rob. Who won the NWA championship in Jacksonville, Florida? Was there like one winner in Jacksonville, Florida?
Oh, gosh. Yes, and that's the name that we shall not mention. That would be the Sheik.
Oh, the Sheik won it in Jacksonville, Florida. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
He whose name shall not be mentioned.
All right.
Even though you mentioned it. Well done.
We've commonly heard.
It's like my favorite episode. My favorite episode of Scooby Doo is called Chargar Gothicon, the beast which hath no name. Chargar Gothicon.
Yeah, and Ricky Donna pointing out you just switched him.
We shall not mention Khabib's name. he actually still has that belt. He actually has that belt, that championship belt.
Yeah, ask Dave Marquez about the Sheik and the NWA World Championship from those days.
The belt that Colt Cabana earned and defended valiantly, the Khabib stole. So
anyway, all right. Thanks so much, guys, for hanging out. Make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already, and just follow us and help us get the word out. Come back and hang out with us, and we'll be back on Tuesday night on the official NWA channel. Hopefully you're subscribed on Fight TV and you're watching NWA Power. If you are, we do the official post show, so make sure you hang out with us then. And if not, we'll see you on Sunday. So come back around and we'll do talk about championship belts is what we're doing. So till then, you guys enjoy your gravy cake.